everybody? Welcome to Stones Live Poker. My name is Veronica Brill. With me tonight, I promise you, he will get in the booth. It's Alex Fitzgerald. I have a hard time saying your last name. Please sit down. Show the people that you actually exist.
I do exist. Hey, everybody. How you doing?
Welcome to Stones Live Poker. Welcome to the booth. You streamed last night. You're here again tonight.
Yes.
The people love you. Twitter loves you.
People are very nice.
People are very nice. Stones is actually quite a nice card room. I saw you tweet that also.
Yeah, Stones is a really nice card room. I'm really happy to be here. I'm going to try to remember to talk into the microphone not 5 inches away. But yeah, Stones is a great room, really nice room. Really happy to be here. Really happy to be commentating again.
Yes, and you and I just talked about some of your history with poker. You have a tremendously amazing, how many adjectives can I use? Amazing story in poker.
Yeah. Well, for those of you who don't know me, my real name is Alex Fitzgerald. Online, I used to go by Assassinato. I went pro in 2006. I did have real jobs before poker. I moved Persian carpets. I
love it.
I was a commercial fisherman, the worst commercial fisherman you've ever seen. I worked at an Arby's, and yeah.
I follow Nihilist Arby's on Twitter. I don't know if you follow him, but it's a great account.
It sounds amazing.
So tell us about Arby's now.
I'm really happy to not be at Arby's anymore. We'll keep it at that. I don't know what I could say and not get in legal trouble for. So, no, and I went pro in 2006. Did play tournaments, did play a lot of cash games for a long time. I got lucky enough to get to a WPT and EPT final table. I do have WCoop and Scoop wins, about 20 other online major tournament final tables. Focus mostly on coaching these days at pokerheadrush.com if you want to check out any of the training videos. And yeah, commentating on poker now, I guess, is what I'm doing. So
yeah, and actually what you're known for and what I've heard all about you is tournament poker, but as we were talking, you told me you made a lot of your money just playing cash.
Yeah, I made a lot of money bum hunting at 1-2 and 2-4 on the internet, finding fringe websites, sports books in weird countries, 16 tabling, not dealing with terrible software, misclick folding sets, lots of good stuff like that. But honestly, there's a lot of money just in 1-2, 2-5, things like that on the internet. It's only once you start getting to 5-10, 10-20, that's when you deal with people, the GTO German whiz kids, right? And it's just like, okay, now it's going to be difficult.
Well, there's enough money in 1-2 to get a private island and a private mansion with a private beach.
That was tournament and stupidity. Yeah, when I was, thank you. When I was 21 and I had a very good run in tournaments, I final tabled EPT San Remo, and at the time, that was the biggest tournament in European history. And I went on a pretty big run after that. I had the really bright idea of renting a beachside mansion in Costa Rica, which had a private beach. And yeah, not the smartest financial decision I've ever made.
I mean, you're only young once, right?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
right.
I can't imagine it sucked.
And no, it did not.
So with the World Series of Poker coming up, are you playing any live events, or what's your plan?
Good question. I am going to play the main event. I always do play the main, but honestly, try to play a few other WSOP events, but a lot of the value... I'm still such a bum hunter today. It's a lot of the value is in the tournaments outside the WSOP. So
like at the Venetian and the Win. And
Venetian, the Win. Usually, it's just so fun when you get the guys that busted 2 hours before in the WSOP and stuff like that, and they play so bad.
If I see you this summer asking to borrow $200 at the Golden Nugget from me, I'm gonna be like, Alex,
what's going on?
happened?
Yeah, right. It's good to be talking with you guys. Cliff's notes, that is very rude what you wrote in the chat, but very funny. Anyways, guys.
Yeah, so I talked to you. You're doing commentary on the stream, but I asked you if maybe you were planning on playing in the stream. I always tell people to come play in the stream and watch how you're playing. I think you can get a lot of value out of just seeing yourself play.
Oh yeah, a huge amount of value. I actually paid a guy a lot of money to watch me play, and
Just sit at your table?
Yeah, and he was a tells expert. I actually had a number of tells experts watch me play, and the stuff they pulled up on me when I watched back footage of myself playing, it was just creepy how bad it was, right? And the thing I found out is a lot of people have that.
Espresso.
Yeah, espresso shot. We were doing those last night as well. So.
Yeah, espresso, everybody. No, I'm just kidding. I know you don't drink.
Nothing.
Yeah, so you paid some guys to watch you play.
Yep.
You had a ton of tells.
A lot of them. Well, and the other thing is your resting face is a really big deal when you play tournament poker, because if you have
resting bitch face like I do.
I have resting. that was the number one note the guy had was you have resting bitch face.
No.
I'm not I have a sneer when I play live poker. It's just I've been playing live poker since I was 15, so that was my poker face, and I never really knew what it looked like till I saw it. And he went, "Would you want to punish this player at the table?" I said, "Yes, absolutely." And he said, "Well, you're going to have to get rid of that," right? So it's still it's a losing battle.
But do you find that once everyone learns their tells and it becomes a much more robotic process and it loses its organic feel and the fun of the game, which everyone loves?
Well, reverse tells are a really big thing as well. So if you just have no tells period, or excuse me, if you don't play, having no tells period would be perfect. But yeah. If you don't have an organic way of playing, you could not put off anything, right, and take advantage of a player. So if you don't know what you're doing, and there's days where I've had a cold or I just haven't felt the best, I've just gone in very robotic, just put on sunglasses and try to keep my hands on the table or off the table, excuse me, because you can give off a lot with pressure and whatnot. But if you're feeling better, you can start seeing what a guy picks up on. There are people that if you throw the chips in with a flourish, they think like, well, he wouldn't have done that with aces. I bet, yes, I got a 3-bet that. Well, if you never throw your chips in any way but the robotic way, like you're talking about, well, you can't really get the guy to 3-bet you now, can you?
Right.
So, I'll be closer to the mic, guys. Sorry about that. And, yeah, thank you for putting my site in the chat. So Cliff's Notes puts, so when you learn your tells, do you try to use that to give false tells? Well, you have to know that the players you're playing against know what your tells are. And if you are playing with people who know what your tells are, you're really in a bad game. So it hasn't come up that often. But it is, yeah, I guess it would be something to think of when you get deep in a really big, like a WPT or a WSOP. I was lucky enough to get deep in a tournament in Atlantic City, and it did come up a little bit, although not that much, to be perfectly honest.
So tell me, since you're planning on playing the main and you do this for a living, is this something where guys like you are going into the main event and sitting with your opponents for hours at a time, studying them, and then maybe getting someone to give you information about the opponents at your table the next day?
Oh,
you do that stuff?
Oh, absolutely. If you could, on day 2, day 3, you do get a list of people's names. This is in any tournament. If you get advance notice of who's going to be at your table, you can fish those names around to your friends and see, have you ever played with this person? Did you ever notice anything with this person? That's one of the benefits of having a really big network in poker.
Networking is everything.
Yeah, it's a really big deal.
It's almost the determining factor between a really good poker player and one that's struggling. I noticed that the good players are running hands by a ton of players.
Yes, ma'am.
Players.
Yes, ma'am. That's exactly right. And
he's calling me ma'am.
That's
I reveal my age, and now he's calling me ma'am.
I said yes, sir, on the stream last night. No, that's just that's just a way you have to. No, that's how I was raised. Forgive me, my dad made me say sir and ma'am. So yeah, but no, your network is a really big deal. But I'll give you an example of when it was a really big deal. At one point, a buddy of mine was deep in a tournament. I can't remember where this was, but I had played with the guy in the Philippines, and the guy had a really obvious tell where he looked at his hand before it was his turn to act, and if it wasn't much of a hand, he just was somewhat disinterested. He could still have like King Jack or something, somewhat good, but he didn't really care that much about the hand. Whereas if you look down at a really big hand, you'd notice him really keyed up, right? So anyway, I told him about this, and he got to use that a couple times, not as much as would make the story more interesting, right? But it did come up in a few hands where the guy didn't look that interested, and then he opened, and then my friend 3-bet and the guy folded, which doesn't sound like much, but that's 2.5x on the open. That's 2.5x in the blinds and antes. 5x is a pretty big deal in a tournament. So if he had landed, I don't think he landed 2 3-bets in that occasion, but if he had, that's 10 extra big blinds. That's an extra life in a tournament, right? Off of one tell. But no, in going back to your earlier question, in regards to when you show up at a table trying to find out stuff about other players, I find one of the notes that you should be taking at the table, first of all, you should be taking notes, otherwise you're just going to fade out. Otherwise, it's like taking an SAT for 10 hours and nobody's making you take the test, right? So you are going to glaze over at some point. The notes you should be taking is who is opening what from where. If somebody's opening dry aces or offsuit broadways or suited gappers and whatnot, that's somebody who you could really take advantage of with a 3-bet. If someone is in the habit of 3-betting junk, you want to know who that is. And if somebody is checking back pairs, on the flop, that actually makes their c-betting range very polarized, because most of your value combinations are going to be pairs. So if you're only betting 2 pair or better, but you're betting all of your junk, that's there's a lot more junk than there is 2 pair and better. So perhaps that's somebody you could flop raise versus. And I find if you just take those notes watching at the table, you'll be ahead of 99% of players.
But are you, I think of like the main event of the World Series of Poker, and almost all the events of the World Series of Poker, kind of a mental grind.
A huge mental grind.
And
that's half the game.
I would think that it would be consistent maybe for the first hour, maybe the first, or probably not the first hour, like first 4 hours. But then you start to fade.
Dear God, yeah. Well, that's why physical training is such a big deal in poker. If a lot of my friends, I was not really into lifting weights for the first 10 years I played poker, but eventually it just got to the point my focus was gone.
Yeah.
And I used to run. That used to help me with my focus. And then
the food you eat, I find. Like
yeah,
at work,
it's a really big deal.
If I eat carbs or sugar,
you're so slow. It's a glycemic spike.
Yeah, the glycemic index is high in that food, and then you're falling asleep at 3. And and you're not sharp. But
so what do you eat now? Healthy fats and stuff like that? Or?
I try to stay paleo. I was trying to do vegetarian for a while for ethical reasons. That's a different story.
That's tough.
I was losing a lot of energy from low protein.
It's really hard. Yeah, I tried that for a while too. I tried to go vegan for a few months.
It's hard. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you have to invest in someone like either books, reading, or paying someone to help you put together the vegan diet, so you're not dying of low energy. But I would say like what you eat and your exercise has a lot. You can't just exercise. You have to.
Tournament poker is a grind. I guess we got some action going on.
We're finally in this. Yes.
All right,
and
I'm
here,
excited.
The grind is now ending, and we're at the final table of this last Sunday tournament at Stones. And we can see the blinds are 5K, 10K, and the big blind ante, which I love, is 10K. So under the gun looks like
Norman.
Norman opened.
Norman, what are we doing? Did Norman open?
I believe, he's under the gun. He's not straddling.
This is true.
Yeah.
I totally missed that he put chips in the middle, so you are right.
Yeah, no, because I'm just used to the chips. Like, we were talking earlier, when you get in the booth, I mean, it took me a while to get used to following the action and, like, seeing whose turn it is, and, sometimes it's delayed. Yeah. So it looks like someone went all in, and then there's a call, so. The graphics are catching up.
Yeah, we're catching up.
Jessica is all in.
Good luck, Jessica. Oh, Norman's in trouble here. He's going to need one of the queens. Got his suits, one of his suits covered, too.
Yes.
Oh.
King high flop.
Not looking good now. He's going to have to peel a jack and a 10, a 3 and a 5 for a chop. Running queens. And, okay. 3 for a chop now. And not quite. So there's a flip right there.
So I believe that was our first hand.
Yeah.
And Jessica's gonna. I didn't see she had 12K, 30K. Oh no, she had two. Oh, he only had 30K. Okay, she had 229. So.
And
I thought that he's still there. I thought that he had the ace queen.
he did have the ace queen. I guess he has 30K remaining after that
remaining.
flip.
Okay,
so
okay.
perhaps he had 130K
My
to
bad.
begin and he called off.
Cliff's notes says ladies at the final table. Yes, 2 of them. Quite happy to see that. We were talking about that, trying to get more women into poker, and
if you want to grow the game, half the population would be a great place to start.
Yeah.
But we keep making it a boys' club, which is not good.
there's a big joke that goes around that it's if you get a salad from Sammy's and you're playing at our table, and table 11, this is Stone's live table, you will run good.
Oh,
Salads
of
are
course.
optimal. Positive EV.
It is very high EV. It's because you're thinking better. Good luck
Right.
to my fellow Mets fan.
A pocket eights, it's a shove.
I'm actually a Mariners fan, but I cheat with the Mets because I live in Queens. So I'm rooting for this guy.
I'm rooting for Jessica. I like that double up.
It is good to see women at the final table. It's good to see.
Lone, who's in seat 9, I believe we're 9-handed. He or she is, a frequent flyer at our final table.
Oh yeah, she grinds it out.
Yeah, she's
Good,
quite good.
good stuff. Is that his real name, Practical? Oh, here we go. Flip.
King Jack.
And
Did Ace Queen fold?
I
saw an Ace Queen fold.
I think I did. Well, I guess he jammed 17x, and I guess he was.
So I don't know if anyone told you last night, but our equity is the true equity, so it accounts for folded hands.
Oh, nobody told me that, but now that makes sense. I was guessing at that, but I
you
didn't.
were like, 33%,
I was
right?
thinking, hold on a second.
Yeah, so it does account for folded out hands. Which I don't know if I like, because I think as poker players, we don't think that way about our equity.
Right.
And it's hard to adjust to a live stream because, yeah.
I guess it's just going to be on us to provide the other equity. I guess
No,
it's
it's
fun.
100% you.
Yeah. Okay, it'll be on
Yeah.
me. So normally this would be a coin flip, guys, with a slight edge to Chris Garland. And he goes ahead and picks it up. Now, did we get that right? Ace Queen folded on that hand?
I think Ace Queen folded.
So he shoved 17 big blinds, and I guess he just figured he was never doing that with Ace Jack. But that is a very difficult fold to make.
Cody Baker says not a true fan, or not a fan of true equity. Yeah. It's just like we don't think about it that way, and then you have to adjust in the live stream, and you're like, wow, that is a little bit of a.
I'll give you the actual equity, guys, and then
Yeah.
more information is always interesting. So.
Cobra used to be actually the gentleman here. I think that's seat 6 or seat 5. He used to be a reg at our cash game live stream, but I haven't seen him in a while.
Oh yeah, so he's getting back into it now.
Well, I don't know if he's playing more tournaments. So Lone reaching for chips here. She's got a king queen off.
And is that 20K just on the min raise? See the
I'm
thing.
trying to see what.
See the thing I worry about whenever you go
It's
to.
25, yeah.
Okay, I like that a little bit more. Although, an issue that does come up when you open from a 25x stack, the thing I look for playing tournaments. Let's say you make it 20,000. I can make it 45 and make your life a living hell from 25 big blinds, because if you call, you're out of position. You can't really call me down from that stack size, right? And pretty much I can just take these little jabs. Like if I bet 1/3 pot, I can take 1/2 pot. It only needs to work. If I bet 1/2 pot, it only needs to work 33% of the time, but you're defending for your whole stack.
Right.
And if I go to 55K right there, you're defending for your whole stack right from the beginning. So I get very worried seeing that small open. But she went up to 25, which does protect her a little bit, because a lot of guys won't go up to 65 or something like that. They'll feel a little bit more committed.
So that kind of seems to go away from the small ball poker strategy that a lot of people, or is, I don't know. It seems like you're suggesting a little bit bigger of an open.
I do find
Or is it just an early position?
It's a very exploitative play to open a little bit bigger, but if people just get weirded out and don't 3-bet you, you've won. Because the number one way you are going to lose when you open is someone 3-bets you, especially when you have a hand that is really difficult to defend with, such as that one. So that is a play you can work with, but if you're with a number of people who are going to know that trick, you can just go to 20K because the 3-bet ranges are probably not going to change, right? Or perhaps they could even go up if there's more money out in the middle to take advantage of. But normally, people just feel very awkward 3-betting a bigger open. So I do think it's an underused play.
Very interesting.
Well, and if you get the big blind to call you, you have a big heads-up pot in position versus a very wide range, and you're going to pick up the pot the majority of the time. And I still find people having a serious aversion to 3-betting bigger opens. I was actually researching this for a while, and I had a lot of people opening to 3.1x and then to 3x, and 3-bets went down 20%. So I was very interested by that. People would
3.1 versus the 3.
A very slight change, but 3-bets went down 20%.
So if you're opening 2x, you're more likely to in early position. You're more likely to be 3-bet.
Yeah, because
later?
It's easy. People they're used to it, right? And that's not saying it's bad to open 2x. You just have to ask yourself, perhaps you could guess which open is going to screw with your opponents a little bit more, right? Now, if the person is going to see through that trick, don't do it. But most people, they just feel like, oh, this is goofy, I'll wait for the next one. Or they cold call, and now you get to see a flop that maybe you weren't about to see. So it does have its merits. Like anything in poker, though, it does deserve more research, right?
Right. Sorry, we have paparazzi taking our picture as we're trying to have a conversation, and you're literally, not literally, figuratively blowing my mind. Yeah, I don't play as many tournaments as I used to, but it was very much like a 2x open, don't risk too much of your pot kind of thought process.
There's a lot of merit to that play too, and also if you're playing with some crushers, they're going to see right through that bigger open. You're going to get 3-bet more.
But almost playing with crushers, well, I guess what I'm going to say is different than what you're saying. If I'm going to open 2x, I'm just going to consistently open 2x because I don't want them to exploit me if I'm changing up my opens.
Well, it's so funny. We all vary up our C-bet. We all vary up our turn double barrels. We all vary up our river. Why is the preflop raise this holy ground we don't touch, right?
And I think we were talking about this earlier. We've just been given so much crappy information for so long. At least I have.
Well, a lot of these have arguments in each direction.
Right.
But, that is a set, and that person has 2% equity. So what is that, button? Hijack opened, and what did... Garland's going to play a cagey. I love it. Oh.
Turn comes a 10.
But Nauvoo picked up some equity here. So did Chris just smooth call there?
I believe they checked the flop.
No, pre-flop. Did he just call with the queens?
Yeah, he just called.
Ooh, cagey. I like it.
I like when we bring new people in the booth. It's like all these new terms, you know. We all get stuck saying the same thing.
I would typically 3-bet there because I do have a very prolific 3-bet, but I don't mind a flat on occasion. That is something you should do. Unfortunately, it doesn't work in this situation, but if you did feel that person was a little going to just go off regardless on the flop, which perhaps he was going to do from that shorter stack, perhaps he was just, whatever this flop comes out, I'm jamming, and perhaps you think he's opening just way too much, you could possibly do a slow play there. But yes, all things considered, 90% of the time you should just 3-bet there.
So let me ask you, because we have a lot of time, and I want to go back to noodling about that open, the 3.1x open. Now, to me, everything in poker is about position. And then, like we talked about earlier, you want to do some critical thinking, you want to adjust. But is that a recommendation, or what you're talking about, is that just an early position, or is that something that you would do in any position?
If I'm going to open from the button, and I do not believe the big blind is really aware of what they should be doing to different raise sizes. I want to play the biggest pot I can possibly play in position versus this wide calling range. So I could do this on the button. I could do this under the gun. But to go back to that old saw, it depends on the situation, right? This works really well in live tournaments, small to mid-stakes live tournaments. Now, if you go play with the heavy hitters and you're doing that stuff, they're going to pick up on that pretty quick, right?
I do think, though, like when you go to the series, and I'm guilty of it myself, I think a lot of people probably make more mistakes about it than I do. I've lately been thinking about the stack to pot ratio. You know, you really want to consider your bet sizes, how much you have behind. I think that's a bit of an adjustment. I feel like you're talking about that a lot, and a lot of people aren't.
Right.
Which gives you an advantage. As we're watching some action going down, I know you're focused on that.
Absolutely. I'm curious as to why Tommy didn't 3-bet there pre-flop if he believes Ben is opening all the suited aces, as he might be doing from 55 big blinds. He could possibly isolate and get some real money. I don't know what the stacks are like behind them, but yeah, going back to what you were saying, it's always a good idea to try to conceptualize a few streets ahead of time. And I'll be honest with you, that was something I was really horrendous at for a long time. Yeah. But it's, you know, once the snake bites you in the ass a few times, you do remember where it tends to lay in the weeds, right? So it does come up again and again. So Lone just goes ahead and fires out on this board, watches them check, and decides they have nothing, decides she's going to rogue this pot. All right. Now this looks like real contemplation. So, well, it's easy when you can see the hand, but whenever I'm deliberating, I always worry because I wonder what I'm giving out, right? Oh, he did. Okay,
yeah,
so he was just
did fold, yeah.
He was just like, hey, don't do that again, right?
Right.
That's fine.
I have played with Lone before. She's a little on the aggressive side, which I think you have to be to get to these final tables.
Awesome.
You can't be just check calling.
I love it.
Let's get in the chat. Go, Jessica. She's dealt some games I've played at down here in SoCal. Oh, nice. Seattle Moss says she's a SoCal reg. Lady JP, what's up? Nice to see you. Cody Becker. It's all gray. It's hard for me to see. In the YouTube chat, nice to see you. Sick bet. Hits her range better than theirs, though, right?
That's a very good point.
Yeah, because she wasn't early and she just called.
Oh, right? she called from the big blind, I believe she completed. Yeah. So, yeah, it does. You would suspect the person opening from early position to have high cards, and there were not high cards on that board. So, yeah, that's a very good point. Mac230008 says, Alex, you won $3.2 million from online poker. What was your... By the way, no, I didn't. That's earnings. I did have to buy into those tournaments. It's not like professional sports where you just get to keep all of it. But what was your starting bankroll, and how long did it take you to get to that? Did the poker sites actually pay you? Yes, they did, although a few of them took a very, very long time around Black Friday. I started with a buddy of mine loaned me $30 on a poker site one night. I luck boxed 2 sit and goes. Really big brag post coming, but I luck boxed 2 sit and goes, and I made $30 from that. I sent him back his money, and from that has come my entire poker bankroll. But the reason for that was I just really love to play poker, and it took me so long, like a year, to go from like $30 to $1,000, and that was obsessively playing all day. In high school, I was always reading a poker book to the point everybody was making fun of me constantly about it. When I went home, I would just get my head bashed in constantly at the tables. But eventually I did get to 1,000, and then I started grinding from that.
So Cobra raises to 24K. I believe we're still at 5K, 10K.
Mm-hmm. I love that name, Practical. Brazil. Vamos.
That's Renee in Portugal, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
In the chat.
He's always really cool on Twitter.
Yeah, super cool guy.
I don't even check Twitter that often, but I know who he is.
I've been totally stalking you for 5 years. So I've been waiting for this moment all my life.
Lone called. We don't know Lone's cards yet.
Cobra does have the queen of clubs, 2 clubs on the flop. He has a backdoor flush.
And with
Queen queens.
Yep, and with that stack, it's going to be hard to see him not liking this board. If he was a little deeper, if he bet and got raised, he'd have a little bit more to think of. But it's really likely when you have less than 20 big blinds that someone is just trying to raise, get you in there with a pair. So he probably is thinking he has to go with it on this board. Lone has 3 to a straight, 3 to a flush draw, and if the stacks were deeper, perhaps she could call and finagle something on the turn and river with incredible implied odds. But just looking at the short stack that Cobra has, you perhaps thinking, would he really raise with not much from such a short stack? And I think she makes a very good fold there. And you'll see a lot of people just get into a rhythm, C3 to a flush, C3 to a straight, say, hey, I see in high stakes poker people always call with this hand, and they just call. And I think that's a very poor decision when you think of the ranges. Like, hey, what is he actually opening from a short stack with there? And what is he actually c-betting with? Wouldn't he just shut down?
Yeah, I also think sometimes people's egos get in the way, and they're
That
like,
happens.
this guy's been raising me so many times, I'm just going to call.
I used to be really good at that, but it got beaten out of me. Losing's really good for that.
I feel like there's one overlying theme in all of your stories is you got your ass handed to you many, many times, and it took a little while, but you finally learned some lessons.
Yeah. If you teach me a lesson 89 times, I just might catch it. You know?
The 90th time you learn.
Well,
Ghost of M.
I always like to say that because people just think like, oh, it's so easy for these guys. And it's like, no, that is absolutely not true. It's just exposure therapy and being honest with yourself.
Right. It frustrates me when people see like really good poker players being successful and they're like, oh, you know, he's got it so easy. He just wakes up at 2 p.m. They don't see like how much work it is. I see my friends studying so much. And it's the same like in any field where you're well compensated. People worked hard to get there. No one just like oopsied into, you know, a $200K a year job.
It's like being a professional athlete. If you don't show up to practice, somebody else will, and that person's going to take your job, most likely. That person's going to be more educated than you, is going to know a current trend, is going to spot a play that you're not prepared for.
Right.
And then you're going to lose.
And exploit you.
Yes. Looking into the chat, Max says, would you say playing tourneys was the way to win so much from online? Honestly, I felt the way to feel very consistent and good about being a poker pro was to play cash, even if you make a very humble living. With back then with rake back, now it's a little harder to get rake back. Getting money every month from your job is a great way to feel a little bit more stable about playing poker. Tournaments you should diversify your buy-in portfolio by playing some tournaments with maybe like 10-20% of your bankroll, but you got to remember it's a total gamble because it doesn't really matter in many occasions what your big blind per 100 is if the big blinds you lose are at the end, right?
Well, I barely play tournaments anymore, and I actually like have money now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's quite nice.
Exactly. Tournaments are a lot of fun, though. I love tournament poker. I love the grind of tournament poker. I love really long days and seeing other people fade and go, no, I'm ready for this. I prepared for this.
Yeah, I love it, but then the thrill of victory and then the agony of defeat, like that one big mistake you make that just kills your entire day.
But you learn a lot from that. And eventually you do. I think you got to force yourself to smile, and it's one of those things. I really encourage people to have other interests outside of poker, because if you're playing on a pinball machine for 20 minutes, you go, now wait a minute, I'm just taking whatever this game gives me. Come whatever may. Why can't I do that when I play cards? When it's well, it's because I'm looking at other people take my chips. That's a very that creates a very visceral reaction. But you can, if you just smile, laugh, and walk away, it doesn't hurt as much. And then maybe you can see the mistakes you made in a different light. But yes, that being said, it is still excruciatingly painful to bust a lot of tournaments.
I feel like a lot of the things you're saying parallel in everyday life. Like, even with my job, I could completely engulf myself in it, and then I would not have a work-life balance. And I'm trying to find some balance in my mental health and in my social life.
And what would happen to your performance at your job if you did that? It would diminish.
I would hate my job if I didn't have happiness outside of it. But I do find a lot of happiness at my job. And here we have an all-in on the button.
Good luck. Na vu. Good luck, all in.
He's already getting a 60%. Damn.
It's looking good. Especially if that's what the big blind has.
Pocket Abes, what's up? Nice to see you in the chat. Don't let Train hear it. I didn't read what they're talking about. Train is one of our commentators. He is now with Bill Perkins on an island.
Nice. Do it.
Constantly Snapchatting me on a boat with beautiful women. I'm like, wow.
You got to do it sometime.
Yeah, life's rough. Master C, what's up in the chat? Ghost of M, very nice to see you. Ghost of M is one of the kindest people I've met in my life and a great moderator.
Yeah? Oh, that's great. Thank you, Ghost, for being here. It seems Pocket Abe says, is this guy talking to us about pinball? No, the Pinball Hall of Fame is one of my favorite places to go in Las Vegas. Have you ever been to the Pinball Hall of Fame?
I have not, but we have a great pinball bar in Sacramento.
Oh my God, I'm going.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've gone there several times. There's like pinball machines everywhere in video games. Yeah.
You don't know what a dork I am. I'm gonna check it out.
Oh, then you'll love Train. Train has like, how many pinball machines does Train have? I know a lot of you have been to his house, like 50, I think, in his home, or 30. Oh my God, it's crazy.
I want to be that dude.
He builds them.
You build them. You're one
like,
of, that's awesome.
I think he buys old ones and like finds parts for them and fixes them up. Yeah,
that's so
super
sick.
Cool. You would love him. Everybody loves Train. Yeah, he's on an island with Bill Perkins.
Hey, you gotta live. Okay, so we gotta.
Yeah, loan races to 25K. Tommy calls.
Loan is not gonna let you know what her cards are, and Tommy. Somewhat decent flop here and open-ended straight flush draw.
Just somewhat, yeah. And he checks. Lets Lone do the work.
Now,
Lone was the original raiser, so yeah. So Tommy in the big blind with a queen 10, do you 3-bet here out of the big blind?
Well, that's a great question. When you check raise there and you check raise, when you check raise.
No, I mean pre-flop.
Oh, pre-flop 3-bet. The problem is Lone does have a stack that is very prone to jamming, less than 30x. People feel very awkward about flatting a 3-bet from there. Not saying they won't do it, but sometimes when they feel weird about flatting a 3-bet, they'll just jam, which is really bad when you have a hand that flops so well. So maybe if they were a little deeper stacked, 3-betting there for value would be really fun. Now, see.
Oh, he put in a raise.
Now, see, here's my worry about that raise is if she jams, how good are you feeling about your hand? A lot of the flush draws she jams beat yours. Now, certainly you have the equity to check raise call there, but I don't know.
Is he check raising with the intent of calling her all in? He must be.
He has to be.
Look at him. He's wearing a run it up sweater. He's for sure doing that.
Certainly he has the equity to do that. Yeah, but no, certainly he has the equity to do that. I just wonder if there's another line he could take, perhaps a donk lead there, check call, perhaps do something on the turn. But by the way, totally has the equity to do that play. I'm just thinking aloud right now. Yeah. I don't know how Lone plays. Perhaps she is just jamming any flush draw there or any straight draw there, in which case that is a marvelous check raise call for value.
So is donk leading or betting into the razor, is that a thing?
I do believe
in cash it's not really a thing.
I do believe it can be made to work. It is dangerous if you're not used to it, but a lot of people will just freeze up when they see a donk lead, not know what to do, call you with the ace high, and then fold on the turn, in which case you collect the pre-flop raise and you collect the flop bet. Again, that's a very low to mid stakes, very highly exploitable. Any play I teach you in that context, if I say it's really exploitable, that means you can be exploited yourself, right? Yeah. A really good example of an exploitative play would be, say you have a guy in the big blind who is just very, very loose, not we have big action, is very loose and not a terrific player. So you raise really big with aces because you know he's calling with anything pre-flop. Right. That's very obvious to everybody else at the table, but you're gambling on that player not noticing that. So we have a raise to 36K by Renee, and Nauvoo jams, and they're just fishing for flushes right now.
Yeah.
So Renee has one of the suits covered, so he does have a little bit of an equity edge there. And Nauvoo did have the flush draw on the flop. He would have needed 4 spades. Unfortunately, just got 3 of them on the board. So this is going to be a chop pot.
just listening to you talk, I think the tournaments I play, I mean, typically I'm playing the 1500s at the series. I'll play like a mid-stakes poker game or poker tournament. I would say just the way you talk, just your ability to exploit people, as we were talking about exploitative play. I think you're probably ahead of 90% of the field. I feel like a lot of people aren't even there yet.
Oh, of course.
I think like the way I see people play is they see what's on the board and they see what's in their hand, and even ranges I think are hard for people.
Oh, ranges are incredibly difficult too.
I still have a hard time wrapping my head around ranges because I think like my opponents aren't thinking about a range, and so they're doing something completely. What they're doing is not a thing.
Well, and yes, so what you have to do at that point is study neuroeconomics. How do people deal with loss aversion? How does that affect when they flop a pair? Things of that nature, because you're trying to predict what the masses do at that point. You're not trying to ascribing thought to a person who is playing emotionally would be a very bad way to approach this.
No, that is the best way I've heard it's called.
Thank you. Well, the thing is, okay, Cobra goes ahead and raises to 25K. I'm going to write down what we're talking about, though.
Yeah, you're obviously charging me $300 an hour for this commentary because I'm going to learn a lot. Everyone's gonna learn a lot, and the espresso is kicking in.
I got a free espresso shot. It's on the house, so don't worry. Poker teaching is free tonight. So Navu raises to 25K. No, the thing about exploitative poker is it's really good for low stakes to medium stakes because people are just playing their hand, right? So if you know what the general person does, what most people do, if you want to make it as generic as possible, is they raise their two pair or better, they call with their pairs, they fold their high cards. So if you cultivate a game that plays to those tendencies, you're going to do very well at low stakes and mid stakes tournaments. Now,
for a few years until the game changes.
Right, exactly. You do have to pay attention, right? Now, if you go play 2-5 in a tough room, a lot of that stuff's not going to work, right? But when you're playing tournament poker, which tends to be what I like to teach because the same strategies seem to work in most of the world, and you can give people a really exciting strategy to use in most places. When you're playing tournament poker, you deal with hundreds of players, or 50, 100 players. You're not going to be able to develop reads. You do have to treat each person as the field. And that's when exploitative plays that will just make a gamble on what do I think the average person does with a high card here? How often does he have a high card here? How often does my bet need to work here? Which of these is the larger percentage? That's a good way to think about it because, like you said, many people have a very hard time visualizing ranges, and GTO is range versus range, and teaching somebody from that standpoint is very difficult, right?
It is, yeah. I find some parts of poker to be quite abstract. I told you earlier, which is what I struggle with, because you're not only doing ranges, but then the exploitative play, I think, is a little bit, I might be wrong, it seems less mathematical, more like reading.
It's very basic combinatorics, like just very basic. If he has this range, he has this time, and it doesn't get into the super nuanced, the solver stuff. But let's see, Navu just went ahead and under the gun +1 limped from a 10. Am I seeing that right? Just limped in?
Navu called. Yeah, pre-flop.
Just limped in, and then Ben.
He's in the small blind, is he? No, he's under the gun +1.
Now, when people limp in, and I'm in the big blind, and the board comes ace high, I always ask myself, would he really limp an ace from that stack? And if the answer is no, I do like leading on that board if they have the type of chip stack where they can't really raise as a bluff or do anything.
Did we go up in blinds 6-12 right now? Because he called the 12K, so he must have gone up to from 6-12 to 6-12. Sorry. No, you've got a phenomenal mind. I'm really enjoying talking to you. We had a good conversation before the stream started, and it's a pleasure when someone comes in. You're super nerdy, but you're social too. So you have a good balanced life range.
I appreciate that. A lot of
and then your girlfriend's a boxer, so all cool.
She can punch me if she really wants to.
Yeah, that's amazing.
She's the reason I'm a little bit more normal social these days.
You know
she
what?
calls me out on a lot of things.
That's amazing. If two people are like GTO bots, it's hard to make it through this life. But like, if you can find someone to like balance you out, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then call you out on your shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
She's very good at doing that.
Right. Yeah. You were telling me about that earlier. I thought that was awesome.
And here we go.
So we got the plaques out now. These are 25K plaques.
I like it. And did he 3-bet?
He did. So Lone put
saucy.
She's on the button, and Renee in Portugal is in the big blind. Wow, what a nice 3-bet with
So he's risking 38,000 here because the big blind is dead. So if he,
I think he's watching her be quite aggressive and probably opening wide.
Right, he's risking. I love that play, Renee, because he's making it 38K to win 95, if I got that right. So his play needs to work, whatever, 40% and change, which means she needs to defend there nearly 6 times out of 10, which is going to be very difficult from a stack of less than 20x. What do you do at that point? Do you call? Do you jam when you feel you have no equity? And most guys, to his credit, will not do that play as a bluff.
Right.
So you're thinking, this guy really wants me to play. I got to drop this. And that I'm very surprised by that play. That is someone who wants to win the tournament right there.
Yeah, he is gonna love that. He's not that.
I'm telling it. I'm gonna call balls and strikes if he does something dumb on the stream.
Right.
I'm gonna say it, or I'm gonna try to provide my interpretation. If you can hear I'm really lost, then you'll understand that maybe I don't get it. But that is clearly someone playing for first, right there, thinking about the situation, not thinking about how other people are going to perceive him.
So hashtag standard play here on the button with kings, a little raise.
And what I meant by perceive him, he's not caring about being embarrassed if that hand gets turned over, which I really like in a poker player. And yes, hashtag standard play, raise with your kings.
I love it, yeah.
So
I'm really loving your humble roots. You seem like a guy that should have got a PhD in astrophysics, and here you are, a fisherman.
That is
worked at Arby's,
yeah.
and you're a brilliant guy. So I really appreciate that.
That's very kind. If you could see me fishing for trying to find where the light switch is in my apartment after 14 months of living there, you might not have the same opinion. But I really appreciate that.
I mean, I knew a fighter pilot who was a fisherman before he was a fighter pilot, and so like maybe fisherman is like the starting point for brilliant people.
Well, that's I was the worst fisherman ever. The guys up there are just mavericks, a lot of them, because think about it. If you make a mistake, you cost your entire team their season. Yeah. Right. So
oh wow.
And a lot of times something happens with the boat. You got to think of something really quick, right? So you watch. I met some of the smartest guys I ever met fishing, right? And they would tell you, nah, I'm not doing anything. And I was like, I saw you under pressure, man.
Yeah.
That's a different type of intelligence,
critical
right?
thinking skills are better than anyone else, better than most of the population.
Yes. And speaking
Can that be learned, you think?
Can that be learned? No, I think a lot of that, it's just like athletes who are in a flow state perpetually. I think a lot of that is... Well, I think it can be taught a little bit if you have parents that really love initiating, I think, unstructured play, right?
Yeah, or questioning why the child is doing something.
Yeah, exactly. And in setting up a very good place where they can learn to be in a flow state, perhaps. But
I feel, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but Ben put in a raise to 27K with a queen 10, and Nav... Are those calling chips? So those are $1,000 black chips.
Yeah, I think those are calling chips from a 92K stack.
Yeah, so 92K, it seems... What do you do here with his hand with 92K in the small blind?
Well, he's got to ask himself if he has any... a big problem there when you flat is...
He's good, but he doesn't know it. I mean, it's kind of a question. It's not a great hand in the small blind.
Well, the question really becomes, is the big blind going to look at that flat and go, what the hell is that? Is that a really big hand that's fishing for something? In which case, if the big blind folds and you could just jam any flop, there's a lot of evidence that's a profitable play. But I don't think that's what Nauvoo is doing here. I think Nauvoo wants to see the flop. He's missed the flop. He's now checked. And I don't love this pre-flop call now because from that stack size, I think generally you should be shoving or folding. And he probably does have fold equity here pre-flop. Online, a lot of times I don't think you do.
I want to ask you why. Do you think checking on the turn was a good idea for Ben?
I think a lot of people do pot control with a king there and even an ace. So I do think that's fine.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's okay.
I hope you don't mind me interrupting. You seem
No,
okay
that's
about
fine.
it so far.
This is fun.
We'll see how
This
it
is my
goes in
job.
3 hours.
Yeah.
Cliff Note says, deadliest catch is future presidential candidates. I might move to Canada.
That's what my dad does for a living. He's a crab fisherman. He does that job. It's really funny if you turn on Deadliest Catch, he'll just start mouthing off about, because he's known all those guys for forever, right?
So Cody J10S says, Alex, can you summarize your training poker head rush? I played 200 to 600 buy in tourneys. Is your site training good for that level?
Cody, absolutely. That's since that's what most of the poker population plays, that tends to be what I focus on because that's really fun and that appeals to the most people. It's really fun teaching you guys too, because once it gets really high stakes, it gets really complicated and it gets really stressful. 200 to 600s, yes. If you want to learn more about the site, I would really recommend going to pokerheadrush.com, clicking on the button that says watch free training videos, and just checking out some of them, chilling with your favorite adult beverage some night and seeing what's going on there. And you can also sign up for the newsletter on that site and you'll get free poker content every single day. Articles, podcasts, training videos, the works. So we have, Jessica is raised to 25K from, I would have liked to seen her shove that stack. She just raised folded. Did I catch that
Yeah.
right? What position was she in? +1. Oh, that is difficult. Perhaps she should have just folded. Well, no, I think people are going to fold a little bit too much to her. So yeah, that could be a shove. I'll be honest with you with the stack distributions, and I don't know a lot about these players. It's hard for me to know. $9.6K to first. Is that what we got here tonight?
Yes, the payouts just got posted in the YouTube and Twitch chat.
All right, good times. Playing for nearly a rack of high society. Is that what they called it in Rounders?
Yes. Cody J says, thanks to you. Nutlow, what's up? Welcome to the chat.
Appreciate you, Cody.
John Southern, welcome to the YouTube chat. Thanks for watching us here. We're giving you some good content tonight. Alex is dishing out some knowledge, and I'm going to be paying for it later. Send me your bill.
Okay. No.
Easy but not cheap, right?
Nah, we'll just riff tonight. It's all good.
All
Ben
right.
raising with the suited gapper, trying to take charge of this final table. And you know what? He hasn't seen a lot of people pushing back. I like this raise.
I like his flower shirt.
Oh, yeah. That's clutch.
That is saying, I'm a man, I'm secure. Fuck all of you who are scared to wear this. No, I love it. It's like,
I love guys that don't care.
I do too. I like people who dance to the beat of their own drum.
I met a dude, or met through a friend, a guy the other day. It's like, what do you do for a living? Or what have you been up to? And he said, I just wrote a book about Jewish punk rockers.
Nice.
And I was like, that is the most random. Cool thing ever. Where did you come up with that? But yeah, I love that. And the floral print can work as well.
Yeah, the floral print is everything.
Nutlow says, Alex, we need more battle rap talk. Will you be there tomorrow? We go into sit and talk. I'll be here tomorrow. We're going to keep it a little nerdy about the poker chat stuff, though, today. And is he thinking of raising again, back-to-back? Now, there is some logic to this because a lot of guys won't raise light twice, so a lot of people will back off on your second raise. So he did just go ahead and raise here.
I almost would think that they are raising light if they're doing it so many times.
Yeah, it depends on the perception of the table. There are a lot of guys. Well, I think you're right.
Look at this 3-bet with aces under the gun +2.
And this is why it'd be so hard to play Renee.
Oh,
we just saw him do.
Tommy's
dear
got
God.
queens. This is gonna be so bad.
Tommy is not gonna LOL when he sees these hands. Let's see.
You are a hip nerd. I am so impressed. He isn't gonna lol at all.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
I love it.
If he just flats here, that is a miracle. And these are the type of decisions nobody sees in a tournament. and can affect the whole thing.
I think he's going upstairs. 10, 20. Oh, no.
Let's
Are
see.
those, I'm trying to remember what those chip denominations are. Yeah, he 4-bet to 145.
Yep. Well, Tommy. Okay, now let's see how Renee plays this.
Renee is just loving
Take your
every
time.
minute.
Take your time. Don't make a move,
It's
Renee.
fun to flat a little bit here, no?
I do not mind that play, especially as flats have gotten really bad. That was really well done, Renee. That looked like an ace king to me. Oh my God! And
he's so amazing.
he puts in the he just called. I thought he.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh
He
my
just
God.
called. He just called. He's getting a little greasy
I love
here.
it. I love it.
Yeah, a little
And
dirty.
it looks like Tommy knows something about poker, so just like the slight 5-second then call. A lot of guys won't do those kind of ostentatious behaviors with aces. So if I'm sitting there in Tommy's spot, I'm screwed. Renee just got me. Renee just got me with a lot of my lighter hands on this range if I ever was goofing off.
So Tommy's going to continue here. Now, does Renee just rip?
Yeah,
He's got
make it look
519.
like a flush or a 10. Like
Yeah.
I'm all in. Wave the hand.
Yeah.
Right?
I love it.
I'm all in. Because people tend to not do that with like a set or something, right?
Do the one chip all in.
Oh,
all
yeah.
in.
Ah,
One
that's
chip.
that's too cool for me. I never pull that off, right? Let's see.
Gosh. We're just loving and admiring every minute of this play by
I love
Renee.
it. And there's nothing Tommy can do. Tommy has done nothing wrong in this pot. It's just a total cooler. Renee has done nothing to tip the strength of his hand. And believe it or not, there are pros that could see something here, right? It's very unlikely, but Renee is just not giving anything away. Did he just call there?
calls.
Oh my God. He really thinks he could have a 4-bet bluffing range here. Oh no, he jammed? Did he? I have no graphics. I have no ideas.
We don't know what's going on. I think he just called.
This is
Nope.
this
Yeah.
just kills the action. Oh my God.
Well, Tommy picks up a bit of equity here.
Yeah, and he just jammed. I believe he did.
And Renee calls.
So Renee, yeah,
Renee was doing all of that
a
to
lot
set
of
up
outs.
this jam.
So he really had to think Tommy could have just a really pure bluff in range there. Otherwise, this is a very crazy line. Dear God. Ooh.
And
And
it was
nobody did anything wrong in that pot. It was just
hashtag standard.
yeah, very standard.
Well,
It's
I mean,
very brutal.
a setup. It was a hashtag setup.
It
How's
was a
that?
setup. It was Tommy has nothing to be ashamed of. He played very hard there. He went for the win. It's just one of those tough situations. Renee didn't really give him a chance to see anything.
And Tommy, we were told earlier that Alex would be giving the truth tonight. So
Yeah.
you did nothing wrong,
No,
actually.
it's
We
just-
would have told you.
It's a tough situation. I mean, and to be fair, it's queens versus aces, but there could have been. Yeah, I really like his shove on that turn, right? Because a lot of people are just gonna. A lot of people call with hands they shouldn't there in Renee's spot. So he did not. He thought he was getting a lot of value with that turn jam. I actually agree with him. I think maybe a few years ago you weren't doing that, but I like how Tommy played that pot. It just so happens that Renee played it fine as well, and now he's got a ton of chips, and this final table is going to be very interesting.
We all love and hold Renee to a new respect, I think. Like,
Practical.
He's-
Oh, wait, no. Portuguese, you don't roll the R's. So
oh, you don't?
I don't think you do.
Oh, see, I'm Polish. I'm an R roller.
Yeah, it's
Veronica.
Veronica.
Veronica, why you no love mother? That was my
What?
mom growing
Oh
up
my
all the
God.
time. I should send you my 5 minutes of amateur stand-up that I did.
I would check that out. That takes balls of steel.
I mean,
Stand up.
it was on my bucket list, so I had to do
good
it.
for you.
It's fun.
What
Like
a-
it really gets you out of your
You're
shot.
present. You're very present in those moments.
Oh man, I was a nervous wreck, but it was fun.
Good for you. Was it a cool crowd or was it?
It was an awesome crowd.
Open
and
mic?
It was an open mic.
Awesome.
And the good thing is, like, the 2 people before me were so bad. And you could tell didn't
always-
practice. I practiced all week for 5 minutes. And
But
so
that's perfect. That's how you're supposed to do it.
they
now,
were all just like, oh, finally a a joke. And all I did was my mother. And like, I really don't even feel like I'm telling jokes. I'm just talking
just telling
the way
them about your life.
my mother, like my whole life, was so funny in the way she talked to me. Like, Veronica, how you no love mother all the time. And, you know, like she was a butcher. I'll tell you the cutest story. She was a butcher, and she started her business in the basement of our family home.
Oh, my Lord.
And she would bring home pigs, and she would cut them up and grind them into sausage, right? I was like, Mom, it smells like pigs in the entire house. She's like, you know, the smell is, Veronica? You don't like the smell of money? This is the smell of money. And I was like, oh, shit. Well, okay. I mean.
She was like, baby girl, I'm hustling.
Yeah, she was a hustler. My mother was a hustler my whole life. So
now that is interesting. So Nauvoo goes ahead and checks back on that flop, and that's not a board a lot of people would check back. So Lone here just thinks there is a lot of garbage in his checking back range and decides to pick up this pot. But Nauvoo calls. Okay, so he feels his king high is good. I don't mind him just betting and cashing out his equity on that flop. Although, to be fair, a lot of people will not fire the river as a bluff.
So, yeah, it's a funny fire on the river unless she thinks they both have ace high and he called for a chop.
He had a 7 that he's going to fold. I don't think he's going to fold a 7 though, and he doesn't have a lot of those 7s. A lot of those in his opening range from that stack. So I guess she was trying to get him off of an ace. There is some merit to the play, but I don't love it. I think it would have been. I don't even like the problem when you lead the turn is if you're not willing. To be fair to her, if you lead the turn and you check the river, you've just told the person you have a missed draw are a really weak pair. And a lot of people will lead that turn, just try to cash out their equity, and then have no plan for the river. It looked like she did have a bit of a plan. I don't necessarily agree with it, but perhaps she thought, okay, this guy's really playing to pot control. I don't think he's going to have it on the river. I disagree with that. People really suck at folding on the river as a rule, so I don't think that's correct, but there are some people that do try that line.
Would you say the river is the worst played part?
Absolutely.
The street? Yeah.
Well, and the funniest thing is it's Final Jeopardy. It's the biggest pots, and people just suck at it.
Yeah.
It's so funny because most people have never folded to a third pot size bet in their life, and yet they've never seen a third pot bluff on the river, right? Like nobody misses their draw and goes, quick, bet a third pot.
Yeah.
Right? Most people blast, right? It does happen on occasion, but you just don't see it that much. Yet every time you bet 40% pot, people just auto call. Because the worst thing that could ever happen to most poker players is they folded the winner, right? You should be looking, if your mistakes are very small in No Limit Hold'em, when you fold and you let go of a small pot, but the pots you win are very big, you're going to make money at No Limit Hold'em. It has nothing to do with raw intelligence. It has everything to do with discipline.
Oh, good. I have a chance.
Thankfully, we all do, thankfully.
So Cobra raised pre-flop to 27K. Ben called.
Ben calls, and Ben has out-flopped him, hit one of his 3 outs. Cliff's Notes asks, Alex, where do you see poker in 10 years? Very healthy and big in India.
Yeah, we had a pretty big discussion. I asked you the same thing. 10 pairs the board.
So it went bet call on that board?
Yes.
Okay, so Ben checks.
It's so funny. I was asking you, since you're in New York, if you knew Jonathan Little, and Jonathan Little and I did commentary together, and he was like, you're very good at calling the flop, Veronica. I remember that distinctly, and I'm really insecure about it now.
Well, that helps us, right? Because
So 3 is going to take it. I like this bet.
Does he value bet? He thinks he just shoves on him.
I don't know. Oh, he did go all in, yeah.
So
I think the turn was checked. Mm-hmm. He bet the flop, and Cobra just called. Does he think like Cobra's calling with just a flush hand and over cards?
The thing is, when I like Ben's check call on that flop, because from that stack size, Cobra isn't going to double barrel nearly that much. Now, perhaps Ben watched him check back on this board and said, I've seen a lot of hands like this in this tournament. Every time he checked back like that, it was a high card that he was really hoping to show down. Maybe I can get some extreme value here by jamming and making this look like a missed flush draw. Now, I feel like Ben I would prefer he took the slow boat to China and just led something small there if he wants a value bet. But by the way, I'm just guessing at what he's doing here. I don't know exactly, so I'm not trying to put words in his mouth. But this could be an extreme value bet, right? But that being said, perhaps he thinks he's bluffing, but
the longer he takes, the more he knows he's going to get the fold out of Cobra.
Right.
By the way, you told me you hang out with old men, and like I can tell by some of the words you're saying. I'm like, are you 90?
I
the
know.
Slow boat to China?
The slow boat to China.
Who says that?
Slow boat to China.
I like it though.
The great thing about having mentors is they've seen a lot more life hands than you. The bad thing is you sound like you're 90 after you hang out with them a lot.
I would say I have different mentors. I have a professional mentor who's older than me, but my life mentor, which is I think one of my best friends, he's younger than me.
Oh yeah.
But he mentally, I think, got his shit together faster than me.
Some people just do that. They just. I had one buddy who was 22 and I wanted to call him grandpa. He just knew everything, right? He just came out the womb wise.
Yeah,
I was like, how did you pull that off, man? And I would screw up in life and he'd go, you know why that happened, Alex? And he would just, it was like God giving you a hand history analysis, right? Like, let me show you. You had equity right here. You couldn't pull the trigger, did you?
Yeah, I was saying earlier, I think it's so important to have like life and professional mentoring, people telling you the truth, leading you in the right direction. I feel like a broken record, but we had a private conversation that I thought was really good. Reveal some of that to the viewers. Alex is a really interesting guy, everybody. Follow him on Twitter. So it looks like, what do we have going on? Do we just have the blinds out?
I have no earthly idea.
Ellie Sriracha says, can you be my mentor, Veronica? I mean, I can. I don't know how good at it I would be. You definitely don't want me as a poker mentor. And Cobra is all in. Maybe we could talk about 08. That's my jam.
08? That's a fun game.
Me some 08. I'm gonna play the series 08 on the May 29th or 28th, I believe.
Fun times. Those are any event other than Hold'em is a good event to play. Because there are so many Hold'em players that cannot play another game, myself included, right? But the great thing about being a poker player is you have a nice, big, undeserved ego. So you buy yourself into a lot of those tournaments.
So 08 to me is very, I would say relative to Hold'em, is less abstract.
It's very technical, right?
Yeah, so it's very much about hand selection and getting thin value. And I think the biggest leaks in players' games is just not getting the value, but just not understanding their equity in the hand and not folding enough. Like
Oh yeah.
That's what makes Omaha fun. You can make so many, especially high-low. You can make so many hands, but you get quartered in too many pots, and you're gonna lose the tournament. So.
Well, I played an 08 game one time, and my buddy essentially told me, play ace deuce, but go for the high as well. Pay attention to when you're gonna get quartered. If it feels like you're never playing, you're doing it right. Right.
Yeah.
And I went, okay. And I went into the game and I barely played and I made money and I went, is that it? And he went, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Right. And, but you would see people like Jack 7 6 2. Time to get it in.
Yeah. Jack 7 6 6.
I mean, like, what do you?
You're like, your low is 6-7. Like it is the absolute worst.
Right.
And then what are you trying to do with your middling pair? Like it's just yeah. I just try to make less mistakes than the other players at the table, and I do okay. I'm not necessarily brilliant.
If you ever want to make money at poker, all you have to do is fold more than any other person, because most people get bored and they're going to play hands they shouldn't. So let's see.
Renee in Portugal raises to 56K in the small blind. Big blind calls.
He's essentially just jamming on Nauvoo, but Nauvoo is letting him see a flop and just jam on him. Which I think Nauvoo could possibly fold on this board from what I've seen so far. Let's see how Renee plays it. Oh, we go check.
Check, yeah. Now Renee picks up a pair.
This one's gonna hurt if we see this. Oh,
and he's kind of letting Navu hang himself almost. It's like I feel like Renee's.
Well, it looks like he bet and got called by King 10
Renee's
high.
in the Matrix.
Oh no, he didn't. Okay, so
John Southern, good payouts and good action thus far. Yeah, and it is actually much more fun to talk about tournament poker when a nerd's in the booth.
I appreciate that.
I love that you're not getting insulted when I call you a nerd.
I'm a huge
it is
nerd.
Definitely a term of endearment. So I'm going to take a quick break.
You
Hold
do
down
that.
the fort. Talk to the chat. They'd love to hear from you.
Yes, I will do that. I was gonna say yes, ma'am, but you don't like
so
that.
Bossy. No, I'm fine.
Hey everybody, this is Alexander Fitzgerald, aka Assassinato, here calling the action for Stones Live. We are going to watch this tournament. Hello to Sandy Joy, Ellie Sriracha, Jody M. Portugal, Nut Low, Tommy LOL, Pocket Abes, John Southern, Ghost of M. It's great to see you guys. Thank you for joining us. I have no idea what to look at. This camera or where I'm watching the action, so I appreciate you guys bearing with me today. I'm also learning this mic. It's been a lot of fun thus far. I appreciate you guys joining us. So let's see. Cobra just goes ahead and checks in the big blind after Navu limps in with the queen 6 of diamonds. I really think Navu could have shoved there at these blinds because I think Cobra is folding a lot. And that big blind, the 12K would have been tremendous to his stack. I feel like Navu, when he watches this tournament back, he's going to want to have seen himself take more initiative. That tends to be a great thing to do in tournament poker. And Cobra here has just outflopped him. Navu does lead at this board, which generally when a person checks out of the big blind, that is a plus EV play to lead. But unfortunately, he's smacked right into Cobra's second pair. And with the stacks being what they are, it's going to be hard to see Cobra folding. He doesn't feel like he has enough equity to bet for value on that turn, so he checks back. And we're going to see what happens here. Navu, he assumes his hand isn't good, but he doesn't think anything that called on the flop is folding on this river, so he does just give up here. Cobra's going to take this down with a 10 and a 3. I Hate College says, hey, Assassinato, I remember you from the rap battle you did with PNR in Sacramento. Salute. You must remember something I don't remember because I think I did a battle in Fresno and one in, I think I was scheduled to go in Sacramento. One in Fresno, one in Santa Cruz. Man, that's embarrassing. A lot in Fresno, though. Fresno was fun. But yes, I've been near here before, and it's fun to actually be here now. So Jessica all in with a king 8 under the gun. Now, Jessica, I don't know how tight her image is, but unless people are folding extremely tight, this is a very optimistic jam. Hey, how you doing?
Still here.
Hey. Jessica's going to pick up this pot, net 30K, which is substantial to her stack. Maybe a king 10, I don't mind a jam there, but king 8 is very optimistic.
Sandy Joy, what's up? I Hate College 209. Did you say hi to him?
I Hate College, what's good?
He said, I remember you from the rap battle you did with PNR in Sacramento.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. I don't think I was exactly in Sacramento. I was near here, but yeah, I did.
You rap?
Not very well, but yeah.
Oh my gosh. Holy man, you're such a well-balanced human.
Nah, it's just fun. Well, in rap battle is a very open entertainment form now, so you'll hear a lot of it being very similar to stand-up comedy and just people goofing around having a fun time, right? So
that's awesome. I actually haven't been to a rap battle.
Oh, it's
ever.
so fun. It's a lot of fun because you get to hear people insult each other to their face, right?
So, does this happen a lot in New York at all? Or?
New York is probably the biggest battle rap arena in the world. Hip hop did start in the Bronx. So it's very competitive there. They're very good at it. It's just like soccer in England, right? So
damn.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say, Jessica jams there and picks up the blinds.
What's up, Cameron Jarvis? Cameron says, "What's up, guys? Any coolers tonight? LOL." Yes, a pretty big cooler.
Queens versus aces. Really tricky play by Renee, and it was actually a lot of fun to watch. Very entertaining. John Southern says the messy jam worked. I'm not sure what he's referencing.
Oh, the King 8. One of the ladies at the table jammed King 8 from under the gun, and it did work, and she picked up 30K. Navu is just having a hell of a time at this final table.
You want to play as best as you possibly can, but you still need to pick up some hands, right?
You got to pick up hands, but I also think if you're going to walk into a fist fight, you better expect to punch and get punched. And no limit hold'em is a fight, all right? No limit hold'em is not a joke. It is not. It's not even that technical in many senses, right?
Wait,
so,
did
hold
Lone
on.
just fold tens?
I have
here?
no idea. Lone just might want to move up. So Chris Garland raised to 33K. Jessica jams 161, and I have no idea what tens just did. I think it's just these two heads up.
I think, she wanted to get somebody eliminated.
Now, I think if you want to win this tournament, you have to give serious thought to folding calling with tens there. What? If she had thought about it just a bit more, but I don't believe you thought about the full situation that quickly. She's going to really look back at this hand.
It was pivotal, this moment.
Well, you have to. You don't want to do your thinking after the final table. You should do, play very fast normally, but you need a minute. Take a minute. And if anybody gives you a hard time about taking your time, and you don't do it that often, tell them to leave it.
Okay, so we have a question for you. Randy says he tried to explain fold equity to a friend and did a poor job of it. What's an easy way to explain it?
Fold equity, I think the best way to describe it would be money you're going to make when no person shows their hand down, right? So let's say you're betting half pot. That bet as a complete bluff, if you bet 100 into a pot of 200, then 300 is going to come back to you when you succeed. So you're risking 100 to win 300. So this bet needs to succeed 33% of the time. If this person you are playing against is going to fold north of that 33% of the time, every dollar that you can calculate in that equity on that is just money in your pocket. I think that's what most people are referring to when they describe fold equity. And
I feel like most people are referring to it incorrectly then.
Well, to be fair, a lot of terms in poker have multiple meanings depending on what circle you run in, and people have different ways of describing
Language
it.
is fluid.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it was really interesting. I did get to learn from a lot of guys in Germany, and like all their terms are different, right? Mm-hmm. And you come back to the United States and you hear someone, I bet you don't even know this term, say a post oak bluff. Do you know what a post oak is? That's a value bet bluff. That's an old school play. You make it look like a small value bet on the river, right? And if I'm not even sure I'm getting that correctly. I picked the most fringe term I could think of, but you used to hear that in 2006 all the time. Navu just raises 27K from 145. Perhaps we've been getting Navu's stack wrong, or I missed. Oh wait, no. Excuse me, guys. Brain fart. And Lone thinking about it again, and once again, we do not know.
Now she doesn't have very many chips.
Poor Lone. She's really thinking this out.
Yeah, I think it's a good fold, Queen 10 in early position.
Oh, yeah, folding to a hijack open, especially from 20x. But, I mean, with the stuff that Navu's been opening, you do have to think about a jam there.
I just wonder, was she just trying to ladder up, or that can be the only answer? Yeah,
I believe so.
Because I'm wondering, like, what do you not fold? Like, what's your threshold there? Like, queens or better?
Well, there's a lot of people there that go, I don't want to go out of this final table on a coin flip. But the thing is, that could have been 8s and 7s there, right? In which case you're tripling up practically, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be a hand she's going to wish she had back. Navu coming in with a raise. Is that a different raise size with jacks? Or did the blinds change?
Let's see how much is left on the tournament clock. They did. It's
okay there.
I think they just went up.
So Navu, and you'd be forgiven for doing a light rejam on Navu there. He has been active today. Poga Jiao says, Alex, can you use percentages or big blind when you describe your hands? I listen to you all the time when I'm riding my bike to work. It's hard to follow when you have to watch traffic. Okay, I will do my best.
That is actually a cute recommendation. Like, people are listening to you when they're traveling to work.
That means a lot. That audiobook, I did an audiobook, and one of the reviews said, this guy has a really weird Polish or German accent, and he doesn't pronounce T's. And I was thinking, I have a very nerdy accent. But
that's hilarious.
I don't know German or Polish.
Well, ja mówię po polsku.
There you go. Yeah, see, it doesn't sound like that.
Cameron says, do they have automatic shufflers? He's quick. If not, no, they don't. While we're streaming, the RFID cards are just a little bit of a different size, and they cannot fit into the shuffler. Or I think that they're a little bit different size, but also you can't put them into the shuffler because of the chips in them.
Okay.
So yeah, they are hand shuffling. But I can't confirm that the size thing, I heard it from a non-Stones source. So, but I haven't been measuring the cards at the table.
It looks like Renee just picked that pot up with a jam. Excuse us if any of the graphics were a little confusing there for a second, guys.
So yeah, there's another. Cody says, same here. I was thinking that today when I was listening to last night's stream while driving, it would have been awesome to hear it like baseball, like Under the Gun opens. You know, that's a better description.
We will do that then, Cody. Remember, this is my second time announcing ever, so I have a lot to learn.
You're doing great.
Lone goes ahead and shoves from the hijack with 102,000 with ace deuce offsuit with blinds 8K, 16K. And everybody folds. Like that, Cody?
They won a baseball game. It's hard. I was telling you this earlier. It's hard being in the booth for like 6 hours, especially in a tournament as the blinds go up.
Oh, my God.
If everyone's got like 10 big blinds, it's pretty much a shove fest. And it's hard to put a lot of...
Panache.
Oh, wow.
Je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, je ne sais quoi.
I don't even know if I'm saying that right.
Especially 5 hours in, you're just like, okay, and then the small blind is shoving, and then the big blind calls. Yeah, but it's, yeah.
It does seem difficult, but if I drink enough espresso, I do believe we can make it happen tonight.
Oh, Lone's all in.
Oh, Lone came to play. She said, I am not folding anymore. Lone is all in from Under the Gun, 142,000 blinds, 8K, 16K. Cobra from the small blind does think about it for a second with King 7 of diamonds.
Let's not say 142,000 blinds.
See, I'm trying, guys.
142,000, yeah.
Maybe.
But it was very ambitious. That would be like, I hope she's not shoving for that amount.
Damn it. I was thinking I'm doing so good.
You're doing very well. Plus, you know, people enjoy the nerding.
Yeah,
portion.
they do. I feel like Twitch is more nerdy, right?
It is, yeah.
It's like people who really... I love baseball myself, Cody, but I feel like a lot of people that love baseball don't love Twitch, right? So when they go on Twitch, they're looking for some nerd talk as well. So we'll try to balance it out a bit.
I actually occasionally go on Twitch just to watch gamers. It's like super cool what they're doing. Man, if I could just make money doing that.
Oh, my God.
That's a poker pro's dream.
But think about that. You'd have to be on all the time.
Yeah.
That's got to be tough. Jessica has 291,000.
And Jax.
At 8K, 16K in the small blind. It's folded around to her. And she raises to 38,000, a little less than 2.5x, perhaps because Lone just has 150,000, and Lone is going to fold with Jack 5 of hearts. We're taking a look. I'm sorry.
No, sorry, no. I was just thinking, with your previous point, which I've been noodling over since you've been talking about it, the 3.1x versus like a 2.5x. Maybe you want your opponent to, if you've got aces, or I mean, you don't want to be exploited and do this often, but like in her spot, she put out a smaller raise, maybe she wanted Lone to shove there because she would have called with Jack.
Oh, absolutely.
She wanted to induce that.
She made it look as if, hey, I can get away from this hand if you jam. And if she raises bigger there, she can't sell that. Therefore, there's a lot of hands that Lone's going to have, say, ace deuce offsuit, where she's going to go, hey, wait a minute, I'm essentially calling a jam here. Is that something I want to do? And we've seen her fold with tens here in a very tough spot. So perhaps Jessica knows she's not going to get a jam with no fold equity, so she does make it a little smaller there.
I have a question for you about that fold with tens.
Okay. Let's, okay, everybody folded. I was going to call the action, but go ahead.
It seems like a results-oriented fold when you're wanting to level up, and it's the wrong thing to do, right?
Yes. Well,
and if you have the goal to win the tournament, shouldn't you be in that exact spot with those tens? Shouldn't you be calling?
Right.
Or shoving?
It would. You should be jamming because really with the payout structure here, it is a dogfight still. Very even stacks around the table mostly, except for Nauvoo at different times. I think the way to do that is you could put it in an equity calculator and say, hey, these ranges I think are jamming. What should I do here, and what price am I getting? And you're going to find you're massively ahead most of the time there. So I think if you're trying to win this tournament, you do have to get in there. And I think a lot of people fold their tens there and they see jacks and they go, oh, that was a great, that was a great fold, right? And you got to be careful what you're selling yourself when you're in business for yourself.
And we were talking about this earlier, how in poker you can be rewarded for making bad plays, and then you learn this bad behavior.
Yes, ma'am. Ben goes ahead and limps in from the small blind for 8K with 10-2 of clubs. Renee says, not on my watch, and raises with ace deuce offsuit to, I think, about three big blinds, maybe even more, and does just lose the small blind
player. Is Renee
player.
your student? What's going on? He's just like... He's killing it tonight.
Renee has commented on a few of my videos, so I assume he knows a few things I've taught. He's out to play. He also had aces versus queens, which does help, but he did.
But he didn't play them like you would see a standard mid-range tournament play aces versus queens.
Well, and to be fair to him, he did 3-bet light out of the big blind versus a short stack and picked up 5 big blinds there. So at a little earlier to that.
Well,
so,
I mean, he's got a balanced range. He doesn't have a linear. Would you say that's correct? He has a polarized 3-betting range and not a linear one?
A lot of just junk that's gambling on you to fold pre-flop, and a lot of hands that are calling the jam. Ben from the button with ace of hearts, 8 of spades, raises to 36,000 at blinds, 8K, 16K. Nauvoo from the big blind with ace of diamonds, 3 of clubs, does call the additional 20K. We're going to see a flop here. The board comes 3 of spades, 10 of hearts, 2 of spades. Nauvoo from the big blind with 150K, less than 10x here, has flopped a pair. Ben looks at his cell phone and checks. Ben has the option. He's looking at a board that is very likely to have missed Nauvoo. So he's going to go ahead and c-bet here and see if he can pick this up right now. And Nauvoo makes, I think, a great jam here. Cashes out his equity versus what has to be a wide c-betting range. I didn't catch what Ben's c-bet was, but Nauvoo does pick up this pot by jamming his shorter stack into the middle, and Ben does not even Hollywood, just folds it right there.
Now, you said that this connected more with Ben's range, this flop?
Well, it doesn't really connect with anyone's range.
Yeah, because I was just like, it doesn't seem...
But Nauvoo can't really do much about it, and Nauvoo is also capped his range a little bit. It's a little hard for him to have pocket pairs. So
right, with just the call,
he's the button player there is thinking, well, he's probably got nothing.
Okay.
And he's probably going to fold because he can't really check raise bluff there without any fold equity. So I'm going to go ahead and fire this board, and I think that's actually fine.
So we have a question for you, Alex. Did you from Gad? I'm the worst with these names because the names are weird. Gad Joe. Alex, did you practice a lot of poker math away from the table, or did you become good when you were playing?
Pogaggio, I actually have a glacially slow mind at the table. I'm really terrible at video games, so I did it all. I did my. I studied for the exam because the exam was going to cost me money if I screwed it up. So But just for good measure, I was sure to screw it up a number of times and then wonder why I was screwing it up. And then I did the poker math and went, oh, that was a really bad play.
And we've got an all-in.
Jams. Oh, my Lord. Navu jams from the small blind with ace of diamonds, 9 of diamonds. Cobra calls with 139K. Or did it go raise? Oh, no. Navu raised. Cobra called. I missed the action completely, guys. Forgive me.
I think Navu raised and Cobra went all in and Navu called.
And you can't blame either player here. The board comes 8 of clubs, 6 of diamonds, 6 of spades. And a 5 comes on the turn. Cobra is way ahead now. Navu needs a 7 or a 9. And it gets, also could get a chop. 8s and 6s. The river is an 8. Final board is 8, 6, 6, 5, 8. Both players are going to chop with their ace kicker, and they are giggly because both of them just thought they were going to lose a big pot or go home.
DF Don Duo says, Alex, and we were talking about this earlier. Alex, what's your opinion? Choosing a slightly smaller opening size from EP versus bigger opening size for LP due to how strong your range should be from those positions.
I do think if people are just not going to 3-bet you when you open an early position, why risk extra chips? There is an argument to be made for that. I really find big blind players call with too many hands regardless of where you raise. And my favorite situation to be in is I raise big blind calls me with all their hands. I get a big pot in position versus a very wide range. So I guess that would be the counter argument to that. But yeah, there's a lot of credibility for raising small in early position because people are a little bit more tentative about 3-betting that opener.
I have a question for you regarding that. I'm going to
sure.
I'm going to beat this dead horse, but in the small blind, and I know you're a stronger player, but let's say I'm in the small blind and you're in my big blind. Is it more feasible for me to call everything rather than raise just because...
From the small blind?
From the small blind, because you're such a strong opponent?
If you limp in from the small blind, oftentimes you do cap your range, which puts you in a difficult spot. And that might not be fair because you could say, well, perhaps I am actually limping in some big hands there. But the truth is, if you are limping in a wide range, and I just generalize that you have a lot of hands, I do think that can put you at a serious disadvantage. Whereas a lot of, if you do think a person is a good player there, I would just fold from the small blind a lot of the time. No need to deal with it. Now, Jessica did call out of the big blind here with king, queen of spades. Ben raised from the hijack with ace of diamonds, 3 of hearts, pre-flop. And the board has come 5 of clubs, 6 of diamonds, 5 of clubs, 6 of spades, jack of diamonds. It went check on the flop, and Jessica led on the turn, and Ben just folded. So Ben was checking back on that board. Maybe he saw something about how she checked that board, or perhaps just thought he could check it down, show down an ace, and then didn't like what he saw on that turn bet and went ahead and folded there. Very wise decision if he could see what the equity was she had.
Yeah, I was listening to a commentator on Live at the Bike talk about how if someone is a really strong player on their left, whenever they're in the small blind, they're limping their entire range just because they're out of position. They're always going to be out of position except for once, this person. But just, not being able to, I feel like they would be exploited easier.
Well, if you do feel this person's has some tendencies you can exploit, perhaps you could limp there. But my question always is, one, why am I playing with this really good player to my left? Yeah. Why am I in this game? 2, is there a player to my right that I can take advantage of? Because if there's a player to my right who's raising a lot with just junk, and I'm 3-betting, and this player is not capable of 4-bet semi-bluffing me, I'm just going to pick up on that spot all day. And this player can do whatever the hell they like, but I'm just going to leave them there, and I'm not going to play a pot with this person. You can't make me play a pot with you out of position. That's just not going to happen. That happens on my dime. That happens on my watch. I'm not going to give it to you. So there is an argument for limping there if you do believe the person's going to check back a number of hands and fold to a lot of leads. But if the person really is that good, but the players to your right are bad enough that it makes it worthy to still play the game with this person to your left, I'm thinking about this as a cash game, then I would just try to avoid this player to my left. Cobra has moved all in from the cutoff with ace deuce of clubs, has 139,000. Blinds are 8K, 16K.
And Lone goes for it. Oh, and just crushed.
Lone.
With the suits.
Lone has King Queen of clubs with about 150K and is going to get her money in from the small blind. And she's not going to like it when she sees it.
No, I appreciate you answering, because when I heard that, I was trying to wrap my head around, why, and because it's not typical in the small blind that I'd want to just limp my entire range. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess what that person is driving at is just do not play big pots out of position with this player. So limping would accomplish that. And Lone goes ahead and hits.
She couldn't get a better flop.
Queen of hearts, Jack of diamonds, 9 of hearts on the board. Turn is the 7 of hearts. Cobra is going to need one of 3 remaining aces in the deck. And it's not going to happen.
So I didn't want to say anything, but when I went to the bathroom, I saw Cobra, and I was like, no! What are you doing out here?
Cobra, why? Good game. And like a gentleman, he wraps the table. Tells everybody have a good one. That's how you want to leave.
Hop Grenade, what's up? Overcoated, feels bad, man. Good game, everyone says. Vocal Terror is in the back, in the tech portion of our show, and he will be back in the booth. Well, not in a few minutes, but maybe tomorrow. No. Today you're the nerd.
Good game, Rob Schneider. Rob Schneider is a carrot. I love that South Park episode.
I'd love to meet someone who's seen all the South Park
Oh my
episodes, because there's
God.
like 1,000
It's
seasons.
impossible. I was watching one episode recently, and I was like, I have to turn this off because I feel so terrible about myself watching this.
I will watch a season when I'm sick, but I don't understand how anyone. You
It's
have
impossible.
to dedicate a few years of your life to South Park.
When I was in high school, it was definitely possible. Now, no. Navu goes ahead and calls under the gun with 9-8 of spades. Now, Renee's got to notice there's been a habit of limping in here. He's going to check back the ace of hearts, 3 of spades. The board comes 8 of clubs, 4 of clubs, 3 of clubs. A limped pot here. Renee is going to go ahead and check his bottom pair on this very dangerous board. Navu leads with his top pair from his 270K stack. And I think Renee makes a very professional decision there where he goes, look, I have decent equity likely versus his limp leading range, but what card am I really hoping for on the turn? If I'm calling here, I'm hoping there's no more bets. How often do I really think the turn is going to go check, check, and the river is going to go check, check? What card is really good for me on that turn? I don't like it. I'm going to fold there. I think that's a mature decision. Obviously, it's not always the perfect decision, but if he didn't like that spot, I do defend his being able to fold there.
Lone with a bit more chips here, but Renee's chip stack. My goodness.
That stack, though.
Bragging rights.
Renee with the queen of diamonds, 7 of clubs, folded around to him in the small blind. Blinds are 8K, 16K. He has a reason to raise here.
Ben Jackson says chip stack is out of line.
And he raises to 38K. Now, he probably doesn't believe Navu is folding much pre-flop, but he does know he's probably going to fit or fold on a lot of boards, so he doesn't juice it up pre-flop, but likely going to go ahead on this board and fire a lot of the time. Navu calls out of the big blind with 7 of diamonds, 6 of diamonds. The board comes ace of spades, 5 of hearts, 8 of hearts, 92K in the middle. Navu is just flopped and open-ended straight draw, and Renee just has queen high. But he can rep a lot of aces when he fires here. Unfortunately, Navu does not seem like the type of player to fold an open-ended straight draw, and Renee does not fire there.
And then Navu just like a shark in the ocean, smells blood and pounces.
Right. Well, I'm actually very impressed by that check fold because Navu is not the type of player to get an open-ended straight draw and fold flop or turn. So Renee is not winning this pot a lot of the time unless Navu has a lot of equity, and perhaps he just noticed something about how that flop came out, and he looked and he said, my c-bet's not working here. And by the way, I have queen high. I don't know it's 7 high. I don't get to see his hand. I just know the c-bet's not working, and I have queen high. You would almost always see a c-bet there, and somehow Renee check folds there. I'm surprised.
Yeah, me too.
And not in a bad way. Navu does call from the small blind. Everybody folds this small blind. Navu has 348K, limps in with jack of clubs, 10 of diamonds. Jessica in the big blind with 10 of clubs, 9 of hearts, checks back.
What a flop for Navu.
And Navu...
Flop's open-ended.
Navu,
Checked around.
Check. The board is king of spades, queen of spades, 7 of clubs.
See, Jonathan
Navu
Little
did
will
not
be
check.
happy to know someone else is good at calling out the flop.
Trying to make it like a baseball game. Oh, so Navu on the turn. Sorry, guys, I'm a little confused by the action. I guess it went check on the flop. He led the turn, and Jessica does just fold her 10 high.
Yeah, don't get mad at him. Occasionally, the action is a little behind, and the graphics sometimes are behind. And
You can get mad at me. I'll just forget to care.
I have like a million questions to ask. And I feel like I'm brave enough to look stupid, when I ask you these questions. And you're kind enough to not make me feel too stupid.
Well, we all have a lot of questions about poker, myself included, so you shouldn't feel silly. Everybody folds around to 4-3. I think that's the biggest thing that's going to impede anybody's growth in the game, is not asking questions. I have been fortunate enough to know people who have made millions of dollars from poker. They would ask the janitor a question about a poker hand if they felt the janitor could help, right?
Yeah.
Just that complete humility will take you to the top. Arrogance means you can't learn anything. You already know it.
Well, that, and I'm telling you, and I said it before, if you have a group of people that you're talking to about poker and they understand the game, and it's not, like, hey, just read The Secret. I actually had a friend tell me that. Then you're already ahead of the game. Like, I remember I had a guy reach out to me because I know a lot of poker players. Mm-hmm. He's like, hey, can you get me someone to coach me? I'm like, well, who are you running hands by? He's like, well, nobody. I'm like,
yeah,
even
that's
if you
a
get
problem.
a coach, you need people around you in your circle that are good and can give you some feedback.
And a lot of times, someone will tell you something that took them 20 years to learn.
Yeah.
They're letting you cheat off their paper. Why would you not take that?
Right.
Unless you're just such a pompous ass. You just couldn't fathom that somebody might know something you don't know.
Right.
That really does bother me when you hear. I think there's a lot of people in poker that take themselves way too seriously, make this not a welcoming environment oftentimes, and I think it really needs to go the way of the dodo in this game. It gets really irritating. Then again, it makes them worse players, so maybe it shouldn't go.
So tell me, when you play live, do you go in thinking it's your job and you're grinding, or do you go in and have a fun time? Like, what is your take on all of this?
I can't get the snare off my face when I play. It's just kind of engraved. I used to try to have a fun time, and then, about the 100th time, somebody, a whole table just wasn't into it. I went, okay. There was a time you could have a fun time, and you could get people to goof off with you, but it's really hard to do that.
Well, you're at Stone, so this is the place.
Yeah, this would be a place where you could keep it fun. Or, a $200 tournament, that is definitely a place where you could have a little fun with it. But I guess I'm being a little biased because I've been playing mostly higher stakes tournaments lately. Renee just goes ahead. Oh, Ben just went ahead and limped from the small blind with the queen 7 of clubs. Renee with the 10-8 of hearts checks back in the big blind, if I caught this right. Went check on the flop of jack of diamonds, 3 of diamonds, 5 of spades. Renee goes ahead and leads out on after the check on the turn from the small blind and picks up that pot. Godarazia says, I will ask a brave question. Does anyone still use M versus big blinds when counting your stacks? Seems like M being a reference to Harrington on Hold'em. Or no. Harrington on Hold'em had H. M was, how much an orbit cost. No, that doesn't get referenced nearly as much anymore, Godarazia, but I don't see why not. It does have some utility. Jessica has under the gun jack of diamonds, 10 of hearts with 407K.
Harrington on Hold'em was my favorite poker
I
book.
loved Harrington. I used to read that in Arby's. when they they would give me a split shift because God forbid they pay me $7.60 an hour between 2 to 5 when nobody was
Whatever.
there.
I was making $3.25 an hour.
Oh
you
my
kids
God.
have it
Oh
so
my
good
God.
these days.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, Harrington on Hold'em, I think he had 3 cash game books, and then he had like 1 or 2, maybe he had another 3 tournament books.
I think he had 3 tournament books. He had.
Oh, 3 tournament,
I want to say the blue one, the red one, the gray one, if I remember this correctly.
Okay, so it was 3 tournament books and a couple cash game books.
Yeah, he did have some cash game books. I never did read the cash game books, but those tournament books, they just took me to another planet.
Yeah, you could work through a lot of the
yeah.
He was like, it was a workbook,
Yes,
essentially.
it was. High school, it was all about caffeine, death metal, and Harrington on Hold'em. I just loved it.
But now you're a hip-hop battler, so.
Nah, I like hip-hop, too. Hip-hop's fun. A lot of metalheads in hip-hop, too, these days. So, Renee, with ace-8 of spades on the button, raises to 42K when blinds are 8K, 16K. Navu from the small blind with 10 of diamonds, 6 of hearts. Hard to believe he's going to play this hand versus Renee and his 1.2 million.
Randy says $2.80 an hour for his first job.
Let's have a race to the bottom, everybody. That's crazy.
And gotta raise ya. My first gig paid $1.90 per hour, mofos.
Wow.
Hey, you win. You win. I thought I was the oldest one in the room. You know, one thing, and people always said this shit to me when I was in my 20s, and now you look like you're 22, but you're in your 30s. I'm in my 40s, and like you care a lot less about a lot of shit that doesn't matter.
Oh, it's beautiful, right? Yeah. I was thinking the other day, I listened to an old woman cuss somebody out on the subway, and I said, I can't wait to get to that age.
Yeah, I'm not there yet.
I really just, I care. I care not at all.
I don't know if I'll cuss someone out on the subway, but
just wish the person deserved it, by the way. But
I care more about the people who matter to me a lot, and then I don't care about the people who don't. And I used to worry way too much.
Oh, of course, everybody does
about
when they're
everybody.
younger.
Yeah.
I used to be really insecure. Ben goes ahead and raises from under the gun to 36K, blinds 8K, 16K from a 394K stack. Ben is biding his time, but cleverly picking up chips when he can and being very disciplined when he can. I'm liking how Ben's playing.
And confirmed, you had some insecurities and you took a lot of beatings, so you're not a bot. Confirmed, everybody. Alex is a normal human, a normal nerd that likes to rap. You're a very balanced human. I'm very impressed.
I'm a lot of things. Balanced is not one of them, but I appreciate that. I'm a little eccentric.
Terrible says, my first job, my owners gave me a bed and a whipping once. Oh, come on. He did the Kappa.
Damn. According to what he said last night, he was born in 88. Yes, I was born in 1988.
That was a good year. Good music in the 80s.
That's true.
I listen to 80s all the way up here.
Are you into synthwave?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's what's good.
Yeah.
That's what's good. What you into? Calyx, The Midnight?
Oh, no. So I was into Joy Division back in my day, and that turned into New Order, that kind of stuff.
All right, so you're on that too.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you heard there are a lot of people trying to bring back 80s music now because you can do it in your basement. No, you can't, but you can try, damn it.
It's like
it's
new age 80s. It's post-punk, you know what I mean? Like it's
Max Thor. Oh my god. It works. It works. I see your point though.
The thing is, like, we can't bring back what we have.
This is true.
You know, like, we now have smartphones. We have, like, there was a struggle in the 80s that we don't have now. And cocaine was a thing. You know, we're not doing as much cocaine.
They used to tell you it was non-addictive. It's kind of funny, like Germany was really into cocaine during World War I. I think you could just buy it at a local store in World War I. And then America just didn't learn a damn thing in the 80s, started saying it's not addictive and do it as much as you want.
We used to have it in our drinks. We used to have it in our
and
cough
Coca-Cola,
syrup.
right? And didn't Coca-Cola used to be green when it first came out?
I don't know.
And they sold it at a pharmacy. And Ty Cobb, the most racist baseball player in the world, was one of the first investors.
You have the most awkward history knowledge of anyone I've ever met. This is not what I learned in school.
Really? No, I'm a huge nerd.
Giorgio Castro says Alex is GTO. Yes, he is. But he will also exploit your ass.
Nah, so. I'm not. GTO stuff is something I'm learning. I'm taking GTO lessons right now, and my buddies are just losing patience with me. But see, Jessica from the cutoff goes ahead and raises, I believe, 16K to call. She makes it 37,000 with 7-5 of spades. Gets folded around to the small blind. Ben, I do believe dumps is queen of diamonds, 5 of diamonds, but then she's going to run right into Renee here in the big blind with 10, 9 offsuit, 10 of clubs, 9 of spades. He goes ahead and calls. And it's got to be scary when you only have 330K looking at that 1.2 million. Board comes 5 of clubs, 7 of diamonds, ace of spades. Renee is in the big blind. He cannot like this board. She's raising with a lot of aces, and she really likes this board with bottom 2 pair checks back.
I'm surprised that she checks back.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I would have liked a C bet.
Go for the money. Go for the money.
Especially when he checks 2 streets now.
The bank is open, Jessica.
Right.
He's got a lot of aces in that big blind. A lot of them.
Oh, yeah.
You got it. I mean, obviously, if we could see the hand, this is genius.
I thought he checked the turn. Sorry.
I think he did
okay.
check the turn, and now she's gonna have to bet.
I think I said he checked it before he actually did.
Okay.
Sorry.
She does bet, and Renee. This looks a lot like
timing.
This looks a lot like an ace that checked back for paw control, but he figures she would have just let out on that flop with an ace, so he.
She's like, do I have the right hand? Do I have the same hand?
To be fair, if I've got 7-5 there and Renee check raises me, I was about to say a really bad word. I'm not liking it, right? He's making it 120K here to win 266. So this has to work about 45% of the time. And she's only got 300K to start this hand. If she's got an ace there that she pot controlled with, she's not liking this. She's got to go, what in the hell is he bluffing with? That I beat? Would he really do that with a 6? He thinks perhaps she checked back a number of pairs that are underneath the ace is not going to stand up to this check raise. This is a very creative play.
She has to put him on a better 2 pair or better.
Right. Which, by the way, that's... Now, a lot of guys will not check the ace 4, the ace 7, the ace 5 the turn. Again on the turn as well. So he plays ace 5 like this on the turn. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, or perhaps he would lead with those hands just because she checked back the board. Perhaps her range isn't that great, and he wants to get a little value. But to be fair, perhaps he's just gambling. I don't think she's got it in her to get it in here. I don't think she's ready for this. I'm just going to put this 120 out here, and you know what? This can fail half the time. I'll still make money. This is a creative way to use your big stack. This is someone who was trying to win this tournament. Did she just say all in? Oh, she figured it out. I don't mind how either player played this hand. That was Stratos 1279 says Hitler had cocaine in his eye drops. I would doubt it. I would doubt it because it's a vasoconstrictor. We use Talk about dropping knowledge. Well, I mean, my undergrad's in nursing, right? We use it in the ED. I remember for pediatric facial traumas to reduce the bleeding in the face, I believe. Interesting. Did not know that. Yeah, I can't see them putting it in their eyes because then it would reduce the circulation. I might be wrong. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I think there's a lot of things we say Hitler did that he probably didn't. I mean, there's probably a whole website, Hitler did this. Hitler just completes in the small blind every single time. Now, I want to say I like Renee's play there. Because if she took that long with 2 pair, I think she's folding a lot of pairs. I didn't like that play at first blush, but looking at it again, it didn't really cost him a whole lot there. And she's probably checking back. To be fair to him, how often does someone check back 2 pair there these days? Most people go for it, right? So he's thinking, she's got 1 pair, she's pot controlling. Guess what? Pot is not going to be controlled. You're going to deal with this right now. Lone goes ahead and shoves from the cutoff with ace 4 of diamonds. Navu folds from the big blind to a very large shove with king queen offsuit. She shoves about 15 big blinds there. Cody Jack 10 suited says commentators are killing it. Great job. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you being here.
I'm just here to fill in the voids in between the nerd talk.
Nerd talk is fun.
No, I'm very much enjoying this. Glad I came down for it.
I'm having fun too.
I was very happy when I met you that you were like easy to talk to, because there's nothing worse than being stuck in a room with someone who's very difficult to talk to. Now Lone is watching.
Lone said, you know what? I figured out one. I'm gonna figure out another. Lone. Oh, excuse me. I'm misreading this. Forgive me.
So
I thought Lone.
No, so we couldn't see. I forget her name. I'm so horrible. We've been watching her this entire time. Lone was watching her put out her chips, and Jessica. Jessica in the big blind looked like she.
Oh, Jessica put out her big blind, and Lone raises from under the gun with King 5 offsuit.
Oh, I didn't know she was putting out her blind. Sorry, because the camera was just on her. I thought she was putting in a bet.
Hop Grenade says, I like it when Veronica says she is enjoying something in a monotone deadpan voice.
Hop Grenade, you're not used to me not having any wine in my system. I'm kind of a little more chill. And I've been told that in my private life with my close friends, that I am really a different person than I am on the stream.
Oh, yeah.
And,
well, you kind of have to be. This is a performance in some sense.
You can't be like 100% exposed to everyone all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind vulnerability, but you do have to save some of the good stuff for the people closest to you.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you want to hear about my childhood.
The night is young. Navu on the button with ace of spades, jack of hearts, and he decides to, I believe that is a raise. Tournament clock, the blinds are going up. He raised to 38K, so blinds are still 8K, 16K. Lone here in the big blind is queen of hearts, 2 of hearts with 329K. Now, if she calls here, I want to see a lot of check raising, because the stacks are just gorgeous for it. Because Navu is opening 25-30% of the hands there, c-betting most of them on most boards, and then if she check raises him, well, this is not a terrific board to do that on, but if not just because Navu hit his jack, but that's not a board you should be check raise bluffing that often anyway. But the stacks are such that if Navu wants to do anything about it, he pretty much has to commit all of them. But I don't think we're going to see any of that here. Lone goes ahead and checks out of the big blind with her queen too high. Navu goes ahead and bets for value on the jack of diamonds, 8 of hearts, 5 of diamonds board with his ace jack, and he's going to pick up that pot. Cody says, why not check raise that board? You probably could get away with it, Cody, but the problem is when there's 2 straight draws out there, a flush draw, any 2 cards above a 9, really bad for you because people like to raise with high cards, sometimes middle cards, not that often with low cards. So if people like to raise with high cards and there's 2 high cards out there, that's usually not good for you. Jack and an 8 are, obviously an 8's not the highest card, but it's not a deuce. So we have Renee goes ahead and folds the queen of hearts, 6 of hearts from under the gun. Navu has king of hearts, 8 hearts. Navu likes to splash around. He's got the chips to do it now.
Okay, now we're 6-handed?
I believe
5?
so.
6?
6.
So you should be opening up your range a little bit,
yes.
right? Like the king 8 is a nice hand.
And nobody's
even in the cutoff?
Nobody's slapping him.
Yeah.
So he should do it. There's sometimes you shouldn't because you got somebody on your button who's going to do something about it. He doesn't know that. He's not seeing that right now, so he does open up his game. I think that's totally fine.
So a lot of players, especially tournament players in mid-range tournaments, are not used to playing on a final table. They don't have a lot of practice.
No. Yes.
And I notice a lot of players still play as though they're playing 9-handed or 10-handed when they're like 5-handed.
Yes, ma'am.
And you do have to open up your range quite a bit.
Yes, you do. In fact, I can tell you...
Sorry, we're 5-handed. My bad.
Okay. But I used to... the way I played poker at the beginning was like it was a video game. I just had fun with it, right? And there's a lot of times you just go in there trying to destroy things and you don't even know what you're doing. You will win a lot of tournaments because most people choke. If you play a game of chicken, most people will swerve, especially at these stakes. So yeah, you do have to open up your game. And I think it's actually good for you when you blow out of a final table. When I meet a young guy who blows out of a final table with the chip lead, I actually think that is a good sign, right? When I see you just not trying, I don't know how it's going to work out, right? Because you do have to put yourself out there at some point to learn how to beat these tournaments. Jessica goes ahead and calls with sevens after Navu raises from under the gun with ace of spades, queen of diamonds. He raises to 45K at 8K, 16K. Jessica flats from they both have about 400K. We're going to see a heads up pot because all the other players do fold.
I want to pick up on that point after this hand because that is a really interesting take, and I think again it plays into so much of life.
Oh yes. Poker is life. Poker is just
Poker is a microcosm of life. I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
Mr. Ben Jackson in the chat, I hear him say it all the time.
This is a big old flop for Navu. The board comes 8 of spades, queen of spades, 2 of hearts. He has the ace of spades and the queen of diamonds, so he's a backdoor nut flush draw. Top pair, top kicker. Jessica, though, doesn't think that board's that... He checks from under the gun, so he opened under the gun. Now he checks this board. He thinks he just has all the equity on this board. Gives Jessica a chance to fire out. Jessica's just gambling. He's got ace high, and she's going to fold.
Oh, wow.
And Navu just decides, I'm going to make this look like a flush draw and check jam.
And it's so strong when he puts all his chips in. I think, honestly, if he actually had I don't know, like a massive hand.
Yeah.
It's not just a pair. He has a great hand, and he has some equity with the backdoor flush draw. But I think if he just puts one chip in, it's like, yeah, I got it. But that full, like
that looks like I have a spade draw. Let's go, right? And then perhaps he earns a call out of sevens, but Jessica thinks wiser. Thankfully for her.
So. One point I wanted to take, and I'm constantly taking what you're saying and bringing it back to my life, I guess, and just real life, and how poker is so much compared to the real world. And in Silicon Valley, I think one of the things that makes Silicon Valley so great and so successful is the amount of failure.
Fail fast, fail often.
Fail fast, fail often, and how we embrace it. The team that I'm on, I've never seen so many people embrace failure and fucking up on a regular basis and just like, okay, well, rewrite your code. Like, we can just get this line out. We can fix it. And grit, good, you learn from it. You're not going to do this in 10 years.
If you want to get it right, it doesn't hurt to first get it wrong.
Yeah, and blowing out of a tournament, I haven't thought about it like that. Like, yeah, blowing out of the tournament, you can, like, that pain propels you to do better things. But if you're rewarded for doing bad things and then you have this ego trip and you won and you haven't learned from it. Yeah.
Worst thing that you could one of the greatest things that ever happened to me in my career is I final tabled EPT San Remo. I had a very bad poker game at that time. I had a decent poker game for the time, but I had a lot to learn. I had very bad life habits, and thankfully I did not win that tournament because I think if you get rewarded for that, you're just going to multiply it yourself. And I think that's a good way to look at failure is if you do find out you were doing it wrong, it's probably better you didn't get rewarded.
Monster Hand says Veronica's in the coding field now. No. There is proprietary code that I do have to learn for the software that I work with. But so that's not, I don't have a coding background. My undergrad's in nursing. But I do work in tech, yes, in healthcare tech. They know this. Monster Hands, you know this. I am an RN. I still have an RN license.
And Lone here under the gun has 10-8 of spades, 347K at 8K, 16K.
Yeah,
and I guess she dropped it. I don't mind that. I don't think anyone's going to do anything about it. How much 3-betting have we seen at this table?
It seems like Renee might be the only one 3-betting. Ben is kind of...
and Renee's on the button. To be fair, I like her fold a lot more there. I apologize. I thought she was in the small blind. He was in the small blind. Navu is in the small blind with 6 of diamonds, 3 of diamonds.
I feel like Ben's the only ballerina at this table. Very delicately finding spots.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, he's really... he's a sharpshooter for sure. And... Renee raises to 55K at 8K, 16K. Now Jessica is sitting there with 272K, and she doesn't call it with queen of spades, two of spades. So Renee just goes ahead and picks up a big old pot there. 8-7 of diamonds is only worth quarter of a big blind, half a big blind on a good day, and he just picked up 2.5 there, so not a bad result.
Slig says she's leveling you, mate. I don't know if they're talking about us, but there's no chance. I wouldn't be capable.
I know
You would see right through my bluff.
Right.
So, how do you like it here? Are you enjoying? Have you done anything outside of stones?
I watched Game of Thrones.
I
and
saw
I've done
you tweet about it.
I have not done out. I've gone to the weight room and I've gone for a run past a KFC that I saw something very strange at that I'm not going to say because now I realize it's inappropriate for this stream. But
Look, don't buy the meth that they're selling.
that wasn't it. But yeah, anyway, no, I haven't gotten to see a lot. I was working a little bit and I wanted to be fresh for this stream. And I don't know. I guess I could have seen something, but I guess it was boring the last couple days.
So Sacramento downtown is my favorite place in the entire world.
For real?
Yeah.
What's going on there?
So it's just a nice walkable downtown.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to go now.
Outdoor restaurants and beer gardens and fun gay district. It's just like it's such a hidden gem. Beautiful homes downtown. I love Sacramento.
It sounds really nice.
Yeah, I really miss it. I'm hoping to get back here one of these days. I just love my job right now.
Yeah.
So.
I like my job too. I know what you mean. It's really fun teaching people how to play cards.
Yeah, it's really important to not feel like you're working all day.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I really don't feel like I'm working all day.
I've had jobs like that. So,
and
yeah.
I have like, people are like, okay, when do you get off? Like, when people have to drag you away from work and you like being
Right.
there, it's a really good thing.
Well, it's more just solving problems.
Yeah.
Right. You like solving puzzles. Is
Right.
what it comes down to.
I love it.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. I think there's like 20 different ways that I could do one thing in my job, and I have to choose the top 3, and then I just have to pick one.
Yeah, it's playing a chess game with
Yeah.
yourself, which is fun. And I think we saw Lone just jam there. Was that right? 340 some. All right. You do you, girl. Gotta raise you says, Alex, do you live mainly in Canada or NY, New York, Queens?
He doesn't sound very Canadian, but you do like Quebec, Montreal.
I love Quebec. It's
Quebec.
Quebec. I don't know how
Do
to
you
say.
like poutine?
I do like poutine, although it puts me into a food coma.
So what? Because there's a lot of variations of poutine. What's your favorite kind?
I did the standard one at whatever that.
You're such a basic bitch.
There's like that famous Jewish deli in Montreal, and everybody was like, "You got to go there." So I went there and I said, "I want the poutine."
Like the cheese curds,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, and it was just
and the gravy,
amazing. Well, and then my buddy said, "You want to play this tournament tonight?" And I was in a food coma. And so we played a 6-max tournament with a food coma, which is not a great idea.
I'm telling you, it's what you eat, and the older you get, the more important it is to eat
Oh,
well. Yeah. I can't make it through the day if I eat any carbs or like bad carbs.
Yeah. Jessica goes ahead and raises to 55K. I'm like that too. Carbs just make me dizzy now. Raises to 55K from a 207K stack. Renee calls out of the big blind with King of Hearts, 5 of Hearts, and the board comes Queen of Spades, 10 of Clubs, 2 of Spades. This is obviously a terrific flop for Jessica. Renee goes in and leads there because he feels that Jessica needs to jam or fold from that stack, and if she missed that board, she's likely to just fold. He's been betting.
Did she fold out like smaller pairs than a 10?
I think when she shoves there.
When Renee leads there?
When Renee leads there and she jams, I think, I think she's trying to make it look like she has King Jack there, or Jack 9, or 2 spades or something. Hopefully get a crying call from a pair.
Sorry, he led
the
flop.
flop. I like that lead.
Okay, because that's why I was asking, like, he can get small pairs to fold there. And
I think he's mostly going to get a lot of high cards that we're stealing there to fold. And you're right. Some small pairs I think are just going to he keeps gambling that she's going to fold her small pairs, and I think that could be right, but we'll never know because she keeps having 2 pair there.
Yeah.
So, Love Song says, in Montreal, I grew up there. I went, my first ever hockey game was the Canadiens, and that was insane. You guys are the meanest crowd I have ever seen to a sports team ever. Like,
are you serious?
They get a goal scored on them, and everybody in French was just cussing them out, right?
That's what makes it fun.
It was really amazing. Well, and everybody was like teaching me about the game there, and it was awesome.
I actually went to the San Jose Sharks game, for those of you who follow my social media, Game 7 versus Las Vegas. It was the craziest
that is
game.
Badass.
Oh
my God.
It was horrible. I saw a Las Vegas fan get punched in the back of the head. But
that's not the hockey I know.
Yeah. He was like, rubbing in. He was just kind of being a jerk. So, but I didn't like the punch either. I mean, I don't think that was right. So
Renee goes ahead and raises from the small blind to 60K at blinds 10K, 20K. Navu postures for a little bit and folds the 8-5. Schwartz Deli is the name of that place that I was in Montreal. If you guys want to check it out.
Nutlow says they don't do marbles. Veronica did not do it the last time she was in the booth. I am a big fan of just like an 80s movie that you have to rely on the plot. I just want to talk poker with people who like poker, and I don't even want Bompotosaurus. I don't want any whatever the stuff you guys put on there. I just want a poker show. I don't do the marbles.
We goofed off a lot last night.
Did you do the marbles at the end of the night?
We did. So it's like tonight will be a little more serious.
No, we can do I mean, it's your show. I'm just here
let's talk
to
cards.
support you.
Let's talk cards.
I like you nerding out.
If you want to talk cards, we're talking cards.
Look,
That's
if
what
we're going to do this
do.
5 hours in, though, but after the 5th hour, I'm just kind of going to start, like, my eyes are going to roll.
I'm just going to keep drinking espresso, and I'm going to keep powering. You do whatever you need to do. All right?
I like this guy. I'm going to bench press you after that, too. Then my girlfriend's going to come here and punch you.
Yeah, right. I tried to do nothing today so I could be as present as I could be right now.
I slept as late as I possibly could.
See, I
and
tried
I have
to do
work
that.
in the morning.
Yeah. It's hard to do that, right? It's hard as you get older to sleep in, right?
Yeah, us 90-year-old women, we have a real hard...
Look like I feel like such an old man when I wake up at like 7, like I couldn't sleep. It's like, damn it, that's like stuff my dad did.
Are you referencing yourself also when you say it's hard to sleep in when you're older?
Okay.
You're such a baby. What are you talking about?
Okay, I could sleep in till 3 p.m. in high school or when I was a teenager or whatever.
But that's a growing time. When you're in high school, everybody could sleep all day.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you get a little older and it's like you have a schedule and you wake up on that schedule and you're like, damn it, why am I awake? It's the weekend.
Yeah, that's true. Although I do have to say I'm pretty good at sleeping in on weekends. I don't know what it is. I've gotten better with it.
Sick
So
brag.
wait until you're my age.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it.
You got 10 more years and you'll be like, oh, I can finally sleep till 10:30 on a Saturday morning.
That sounds good.
Ian True Hella says, greetings from a Brit living in Norway, and I used to live in Sopot for 6 months playing poker and living as a musician. Nice.
Far out. It's awesome.
Giorgio likes marbles. He wants.
He likes no marbles.
Oh, I like no marbles.
He's like no marbles. We're talking.
It's gray and the light's reflecting off my glasses. I forgot to get non-reflective coating, and so it's fucking me out.
Vu raises to 55K from the button. I believe that's what it means when it says he raised to 35K there. Lone out of the big blind does call with King 10 offsuit from about 15x, and she's not going to like this board because the board is 9 of spades, 7 of clubs, 5 of clubs. She checks. Navu has top pair with a gut shot. He's got to like this board, especially going against such a shorter stack. If she check jams there, he's calling most of the time. And she does fold to the C bet. I'll be right back.
Quick exit. We can all talk crap about Alex now. No, I'm just kidding. He's doing a great job tonight. Super nerding out. Blinds are 10K, 20K with a 20K big blind ante. We're still sitting with 5 people at this final table. I believe we started with 9. So quick exits from the first few, and now the stacks are getting a little deeper. Vito V, hello, nice to see you. Oh, Ian, Sopot in North Poland. I haven't lived in Poland since the 80s, and my geography is obviously off. I was born in Dunska Wola, if you know, that's outside of Łódź. So it looks like there was a call from Nav. Small blind folds. Ben checks the big blind, I believe, in our flower power shirt. 7 high flop. Nav flops top pair. He's going to c-bet. He's been fairly aggressive. I think he would c-bet most of his range here. He's doing a pretty good job tonight. He's really brought his chip stack up. Hasn't had the best run out early on, and he's starting to pick up momentum now. Dave Ryan says Ben should go home and blind out. It won't be so painful. He's a fold master. I think Ben is delicately maneuvering through this final table. He's watching Renee be a little more aggressive, and he's trying to choose spots where I think he has the most equity. I like the way he's playing. I do think he's a little bit snug for a 5-person table. And I like his flower shirt. So Navu was looking like he was going to do something. To the blinds. Ben's got a... I mean, you get folded 2 in the small blind. You got king high. I think you could try to pick up some money. I don't know. Push. There you go. See, you're like a genius, and then I always say that, like, you get all these geniuses who like figure out quantum theory, and then like they can't tie their shoes.
I was just about to say.
That was really cute. How
I
you couldn't
learned
get
last year, I'll have you know, how to tie my shoes. Let's see. Jessica has 6 of spades, 5 of spades, under the gun. Blinds are 10K, 20K, so she's got about 21 big blinds. So there is some validity to this open, because if somebody wants to 3-better and test her, they got to go for the whole kit and caboodle. And a lot of people won't do that. So she does go ahead and raise. She's going to try to take this pot. Vito. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. It's just I think like we should be okay with interrupting each other.
Yeah.
You can't. She just picked a bad time.
Oh,
Ben
no.
is all in.
Ben goes ahead and jams.
You can't wait for aces all day, but then you gotta also get lucky in spots where you're raising and able to pick up the blinds.
And it's you have to see how many stacks you're raising into short stacks, and you also have to know, do these people want to jam these short stacks? It looks like Ben did have a short stack, and Ben does know what he has to put in there, so it does go in there. Vito says, I'm from Russia, NY for life, though. Very nice to see you commentating, Alex. Very good to hear from you, Vito. Thank you.
Gotta Razia says, I like Veronica's bird shirt. Yeah, I wore a bird shirt. Was it a bird shirt? I wore some sort of, my bird sweater, yeah, on one of the events last year in the series. And then I wore a fish shirt first day of the women's tournament last year.
Nice.
That was a very eventful and fun time. The ladies event is like gotta be one of the best events at the series.
Yeah, pray tell.
I don't want to. So a lot of the field are women in leagues, and they're there to have like it's just a fun time for them. They're not there to like crush your soul.
Yeah.
You know? And
I
there are women
appreciate
like
that.
knitting at the table, and like it was just like camaraderie, you know? It's just like good time.
We need more of that.
Yeah, and Danielle Moon was at my table before we broke to day 2, and I just like, it was just a fun time. I
sounds like a
loved
good time.
meeting all the ladies from all over the United States that won their way into that event, or like play a big event once a year.
Very fun.
So it's a nicer field. It's
Yeah,
not,
it sounds like a good time. So Lone goes ahead from under the gun, calls 20K with 10-6 offsuit. And then, am I seeing this right? What?
Jessica.
Throwing away my poker books. I don't know anything.
So Jessica was in the big blind. No, she must have not been. She has the button now. She was in the small blind and completing, and then Lone went all in. Okay, the action, the graphics were behind.
Yeah.
See, it happens sometimes. I tell you.
I see it now.
It happens sometimes.
Vito says, on a side note, I've checked out most of your videos in the past weeks. I'm going to send you an email shortly. I look forward to it, Vito. Pokerheadrush.com if you guys want to check out the videos he's referencing. Ben here has 6-4 offsuit with 282,000 under the gun. Hard to believe he's going to play that. He calls from under the gun. I'll shut up. Don't listen to me.
Nothing like bad graphics to just humble you.
Oh, he folded. Yeah, he did. Yeah, I get it now. We have 5 people left playing for 9.7K here.
Do you want a hat? Brand new hat.
I don't really wear hats.
You don't? Yeah, I don't wear hats either. My head is way too fat. That Polak head, all that cabbage eating just grows that skull. They're putting it in the chat. Pokerheadrush.com.
Appreciate that hot grenade.
So will the 6 Max win the button tourney have a final table live stream tomorrow? I believe it will, right?
Yes, it will. Yes, I will be doing it. Make it take it basketball, 6 Max. Let's do it.
Who's your buddy tomorrow?
Who's
It's okay if you don't
Vanessa?
remember. Oh, Vanessa.
Yeah.
Oh, Vanessa's cool. Yeah.
Took me a second. Sorry.
Vanessa plays in my game, so I host
yeah?
a game once a month called Veronica and Friends, and it's a 1-3-750.
Good
You can start
good
off to have your
times. And Ben
set.
goes all in with King 10 of clubs here from the small blind. Unfortunately, Renee has King Jack offsuit facing a 13x jam. He normally should be calling here because he knows Ben can push pretty wide. Oh, but he's taking his time. He's not just...
Which you like.
I like that he doesn't just automatically do things. He's probably leaning towards a call here, and he should definitely call here there normally. But the fact he doesn't just rush it, thinks about, I've been watching this guy a little bit more snug, but I do think he's got a call here. He's really thinking about this. Maybe he just likes the stack he's on and doesn't want to gamble here, but he's got the chips to gamble.
So I think like Ben has been playing a bit more snug.
He has been playing snug.
And so I think it's
he does make the correct call.
It's a difficult call against a snug player.
And Ben is not going to like it. Now he does have 30% equity there because he does have a flush draw, whereas Renee does not. I'm not going to make the crappy joke. He has 2 flush draws.
He has 2 quad draws too.
Yeah, 2 quad draws, right. And Ben is going to need a jack now to make a Broadway. If he gets the 10, that's not going to be any good now because that'll give Renee the Broadway.
You're right. Gotta raise it. I was making a joke, but you're right. He only has 1 quad draw.
This is true. And Ben is eliminated. I think Ben played for the win today. I thought he's got nothing to be ashamed of. He worked hard. It just wasn't meant to be today. Just when you're dead to 3 outs, you don't see any of them. It's just, you're just going to have to walk away with your 2.7K, huh?
Right. Gotta raise ya. You teed that one up, V. Yeah, I did. I don't want to make loosey-goosey jokes around nerds. Because they will take that hair and they will
Split it
in half. Good game, Ben. Thanks for...
And we are down to 4.
Gotta raise ya. Veronica has some jokes. A few. I'm trying to let Alex have this show. Because I know you guys all came here. It's not like I have drop knowledge better than you, but like, you know.
No, you're doing a good job.
I'm trying to be courteous today, folks.
You're asking the questions I think a lot of people want to hear the answers to, so that is really nice. Jessica is 9.6 offsuit here under the gun with 300K at 10K, 20K. And she does fold. And it's folded around to the small blind where Renee has 9 of spades, 7 of hearts, and all the tea in China.
So tell me with Renee's stack how he's doing. Hey, Ray, do you think that it was good to just complete there in the small blind? Or do you typically...
I think it's fine to throw that in. But I would like to see him pressure Navu a little bit because Navu, I do feel, is playing a little fitter fold. So I don't even mind him raising there to make a bigger pot. Because he's going to fold on a lot of flops, I think. Now, Renee knows he's going to have nothing on this board the majority of the time. And he's probably leading a lot of it. So he does check raise on this board. It's not going to work. He ran right into the top pair. I hope we don't see much more from Renee. I don't mind the play he just did there.
Renee's not giving up.
Oh, dear God. Trying...
What does he think that Navu's calling
Well,
with?
he thinks he just got frustrated with an ace high and is going to fold to that king. And there is a lot of validity to that play. I don't mind this turn double barrel. It's just a general rule is when people call you on the flop, they tend to have pairs, and people really don't like folding pairs. But there is some validity to this turn fire.
So Navu's trying to figure out, decipher the range.
Right. But I mean, why are you talking? Why are you deliberating?
Did he check raise with like an ace king type hand or a king queen type hand and then like bank on the turn or just a flush draw and he's continuing? Or?
That is definitely a consideration. It's also, Renee is a cagey player. Perhaps he just thinks he limped in with a monster there because he wanted Navu to get involved, and he does get the fold. Are you serious?
Like a king 10 spade kind of hand, king,
oh my
king
God.
9
Yeah,
spade.
no, that makes it, that makes a lot of sense. That Renee is playing to win this tournament. He is not sitting on this stack. He is playing to win. He pushed there. Now, when he does bet there, he doesn't expect to get a fold from a jack all that often, but good things happen to aggressive players in this game, and you just saw it right there.
Yeah.
Because he knows it. To be fair, Renee knows Navu is looking at Lone's 380K chips and is looking at a 300K stack, and he knows the river there's going to be some pain coming.
And Lone's already all in, under the gun.
And that's how you should play on a short stack. Make the big stack make some big decisions. Don't let him finesse you.
And she showed. What do you think about showing? I know I talked to a lot of professionals about showing, and they're like, give as minimal information as possible. Don't ever show.
Yeah.
Are you a shower?
I really wish life was it. I really wish.
Sorry, I'm just like referencing. I just like all this poker Twitter talk about Daniel Negreanu. I shouldn't have asked if you're a shower. Sorry. Okay. Do you show your hands to anyone?
I really wish that with poker decisions or poker strategy, there was a catch-all solution to all situations, but that tends to not be the case. There's a lot of times I'll have a recreational player that I'm just 3-betting the bejesus out of, and the guy's starting to get pissed off.
So then it's
like, well, what would happen in his home game? Like I'll just show him the kings, right? And there's sometimes, one time, there was a younger guy that looked a little freaked out at his first tournament, and the table was breaking. I picked my hand up just a little to show him I 3-bet him with aces, just because I kind of liked the kid. just to make him feel a little bit better. And he yelled loud enough for everybody to hear, "Oh, I saw your aces." It was like, buddy, that was for you.
Yeah.
I was trying, this is going to be so cool.
Yeah.
But
you ruined our moment.
that was our moment, man. That's the last time I help you out with that.
So
And
under the gun, Renee raises.
I love it. Go for it, Renee. And Nauvoo just calls. You got to know Renee is opening probably nothing there. You could even think about a jam, but
so Nauvoo almost always has
calls
position
fine.
on him. So if Renee is raising light, is it okay for him to just complete?
Yeah.
Just knowing he's crushing his range.
Yeah, it's okay for him to cold call out there. It's interesting. Doesn't even see a C bet there. So Renee just thinks that's a really tight range. He makes a great check fold there, and Nauvoo did nothing wrong there. The board came Queen 6-2 for those of you just listening in. Renee opened from under the gun with Queen 3. Nauvoo flatted with Queen Jack, and you would just expect on that hit or miss board to see a C bet most of the time by Renee, but Renee somehow finds a check fold and saves himself a C bet there. That is marvelous.
Emin Playa says he got at least third place locked up, doesn't want to lose all of his chips. Who are you referencing?
I believe Nauvoo.
Probably just be folding. Okay.
You never have anything locked up. We learned that last night.
Yeah. That is true.
And Jessica goes ahead and raises to 55K from the button with 10-7 of hearts, and Lone with 382K from the small blind as King Queen. Now, this isn't the easiest decision in the world because someone just raised from 10x, which you assume means they're committed, and that tends to not be hands that King High beats, but she makes she does cold call there, which is fine, and she smashes this board, Queen of Spades, 3 of Spades, 4 of Diamonds. I don't love the play, but if she does call there, it's fine. She checks, trying to trap here. Now, Jessica just stepped right into it and leads out there. She can get away with a smaller bet just due to her stack size. She bets 50K. And Lone goes ahead and check jams, trying to represent a spade draw, hoping to get a crying call out of perhaps an ace-3 and ace-4, pocket sixes, something along those lines. And Jessica is going to take a deep think here with her 10-7 high.
Now, if you're Jessica on the button here, would you have checked flop? Back?
I would have shoved perfectly honestly.
Pre.
The range has got to be, to be fair to her, was Renee the big blind there?
No, Renee was, Jessica, you mean? Jessica.
If you got Renee.
Oh, Renee, Renee was the small blind.
Okay, so, no, he was the big blind. So Renee,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps she feels that he's calling very wide a big blind, in which case you can just fold. But I would typically just jam there. I don't know if Renee wants this four-handed match to end because presumably he can keep pressing on Nauvoo as long as there's 2 shorter stacks there. Cody says, commentators are doing a great job. Thanks. Thank you, Cody. NC says, tell this guy to pipe down. Sorry, guys.
Do you know who he is?
No, I'm no one. I appreciate that, though. I do need an espresso shot. I hope I'm someone who can get an espresso. But I ordered it. You got it? All right. And Renee from the small blind does raise. Nauvoo is looking at a queen of diamonds, 2 of diamonds, and he does exactly what you should do with that hand.
Hop grenade. Why you not check down?
The human intersect says some stack leverage talk. Nice, Alex. You are welcome.
Oh.
Hop grenade is talking about what's his name? Mike Postel. Was so tilted last night.
Oh, he was in the final table, so I didn't get a chance to watch.
Essentially, he was kept alive. 5 people left. A gentleman, I can't. Gentleman has a fourth of a big blind left and gets kept alive by a suicidal bluff and a multi-way pot, and ends up going out fifth.
So Postle is in my game every month. He seems like the least likely person to ever tilt, so that's funny to me.
He wasn't that tilted. He was playfully. I think he knows what's. He just said, I'd never seen that before. I'm a little irritated, but he wasn't impolite.
Yeah.
Right.
No, he never is.
Renee here on the button with Queen of Diamonds, Jack of Spades, 10K, 20K blinds, raises to 60K, 3X. I like that he wants to play big pots with Nauvoo, although I think he thinks Jessica's just not. Oh, he just wants to call if Jessica goes ahead and moves in less than 10X. Doesn't want her to think she has fold equity. That's fine. I like that there.
I like the chip counts better with big blinds. Oh, yeah, you got to unlock it.
Yeah, it'd be helpful if that's just a single shot. Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So are you watching the whole 50 Cent thing on Instagram?
Nope, I got better shit to do with my time. Forgive me. I shouldn't have said that. I was trying not to cuss.
Weekends I enjoy my Twitter time and
my
Gram time, and it's been quite funny.
I don't have time for a lot of this poker player stuff. I don't. Although I guess this is a little bit more exciting than normal. What happened?
50 Cent is owed $1 million from...
What?
Oh, what's his name, you guys? He plays on Live with the Bike sometimes. He plays Randall Emmett.
I take it I should be proud. I don't know anything about this guy.
Yeah, and 50 Cent just like put him on blast on social media.
Hot damn. Nauvoo raises to 45K on the button. Hot damn about what you said. 50 Cent calling you out is not a situation you want to be in.
Oh, yeah. He's ruthless.
Isn't this a guy who is so hated he got shot 5 times at one point and did not die? Lone here calls out of the big blind with 9 of clubs, 5 of clubs from a 470K stack versus Nauvoo. I'm not in love with this call. It's just this new thing in poker where it is okay to call out of the big blind with anything and just play fit or fold, which I don't love. Now,
all right. The big blind. They're defending it.
Thank you.
A lot of people are about defending at all costs.
I mean, there's a lot of things I would like to do. Calling out of position with 9-5 high might not be one I get to do if I want to make money. Now, Lone goes ahead and checks. Nauvoo is looking at an ace of hearts, queen of hearts, 2 of clubs board. Now, he's watched Lone call out of the big blind a lot of the time there. He could get away with a very small bet. That a quarter pot is going to fold out, cash out a lot of equity there, just be done with the board. He checks back. He's trying to collect a pot with king high, and bets on the turn. When the 9 of spades it gets checked to him. He bets. Lone goes ahead and calls with her 9. River is the 3 of clubs, and it goes check, and Nauvoo is going to pick this one up.
You had a double, and now you're having a single shot.
I didn't realize the first one was a double.
Yeah, your cup was full.
Yeah, I'm performing. So I gotta be awake.
Yeah, if I have any coffee right now, I will not be able to fall asleep, and I'll be dead tomorrow.
You got work tomorrow, so yeah. I just got to sleep in until 2 p.m. and then, show up here and call.
If you
6
can
max.
get to Sacramento downtown tomorrow, get someone to take you, I would highly recommend it. I can even send you some good restaurants and stuff to
All
go
right.
to.
No, I'm down.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I see racks at the table, so I guess there's a color up. I guess we're going to
take a little bit of a break.
I guess we're going to have to take questions from the chat. Gotta raise this. Says, Alex, you going to call the action at all during the WSOP? What about you, Veronica? I have not been invited to do that, so no.
No, no.
It's flattering you think we could.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Maybe the 2 of us combined could. We could sell
Yes,
as
ma'am.
a
We could do
package.
that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that.
Your friend Jonathan Little, he does. But Tuckman, Dave Tuckman, one of my good friends.
We need to do a marble race.
Let's do a marble race.
We're doing
right
a
now.
marble
Okay.
race. I'm just
We're
going to
going-
answer questions.
Yeah, we'll do the marble race while Alex answers questions.
Gotta raise you says we
And-
have a good flow. Except for when I interrupt you like I just did there.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I'm good. I'm just happy you're easy to get along with.
I'm happy. Yeah, you're easy to get along with too. It's yeah, because when you're gonna spend 6 hours in close quarters with someone,
I
you
hope
better.
it's not 6 hours. No offense to you. I really
No,
hope
I
it's
get
not
you.
6 hours.
You got work tomorrow. I get it.
Let's get the marbles out.
I have no idea how to do that, so everybody else is gonna do
There's
that.
a command. I believe it's a Twitch. Is it the Twitch chat command?
Yeah.
On Twitch? Okay, on Twitch. Exclamation point.
Y'all
and
have fun
click.
with that. PokerHeadRush.com. Go to the website, sign up for the newsletter, get more commentary like this or poker strategy like this, when I can use graphs and figures and hand histories.
Oh, I'm gonna go in as Poker Mama because she's still signed in. So.
Good luck. Good luck.
That's me.
Poker Mama. Go DNA stuff. Go Death 420. J Money in the house. The Human Intersect. Sounds like an awesome technical death metal band. Hop Grenade. Good luck, sir. You want to put money on anyone?
Oh yeah, let's do this.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna put my money on Ben Jackson.
Ben Jackson?
Yeah,
Like
B
how
Jackson.
much? How much?
Let's do $25.
25? Okay.
What are
How
you gonna
about just
do?
20 because
Okay,
I
20.
don't know if I have a 5. Okay, so you got Ben Jackson.
Yeah.
I'll take J Star Art.
J Star R.
Yeah,
okay.
he's in the middle of the field. That
J-Star
feels fair.
Art, okay.
That feels fair.
Okay.
So just if either our horses win, we
20
get 20
bucks.
bucks from the other,
Right.
and if it's one of the other people, no money changes hands.
Look at my guy, my marble, Poker Mama,
Dear Lord.
ahead of the
This
curve.
This game is a sweat. Anybody have any questions in the chat?
Why is my ball on fire? That's a good question.
This ball is on
so-
fire.
You told me that you said you became a professional poker player quite young.
18 years old, the year I graduated high school.
So you did it online.
Yes, ma'am. That's right.
Yeah, you weren't allowed to go into any casinos at that time.
I was. I got kicked out of Tulalip Casino, but that one I wasn't allowed into. I could go into like limit poker casinos, but that was on Casino Road, Everett, and there was a pretty good chance you get shot walking out. So it wasn't the most appetizing prospect.
So then live play must have changed a lot for you because it seems like it's more popular, it's less dangerous.
Oh, live poker now?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. And, everybody plays poker now. So I remember back in the day, nobody knew what the hell I did, right? And now it's just like, oh, yeah, poker player. That's fine.
It's still got a bad stigma though, a little bit.
It does.
Because you can gamble a lot.
Yeah,
with
that's
it.
true.
And yeah. Like I said, like no one's walking into my job and like sitting down at a computer
Right.
going, let's go.
Right.
But it does happen
Run
to
it.
you. Yeah. See what you got. I'm just waiting to see. Is this the end? Don't they normally fall into something?
I think it keeps going. Good luck, Schweebs. I like your name.
Is this the end? Okay, but like no one fell to their death. Poker Mama's the winner, so I won. But we didn't see which one of our horses won. Okay, wait. So, where's
there's a
B
ranking.
Jackson 16th? Who did you have?
I had, J Star Art,
J Star R.
10th.
I hope I win $20 off you.
Boom
It'll be like-
shakalaka.
Yes! Sick brag. I just won $20
Yes, ma'am.
off of one of poker's greatest minds. Ship it. Ship it.
Sick.
I'm gonna slow roll you.
Yeah.
Ship it.
There you go.
Let it be known.
What? Just take it. Somebody asked. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Marble Clinic.
somebody asked in the chat. Was it what's my next webinar? I don't know if I can say what it is because there's another person involved. So that is a hint. What's my next tournament? The only one I have on the books right now is the main event. I've been really working hard on getting pokerheadrush.com to look like a really badass professional site, because the former blog it replaced looked like a fried dog turd, so that took some time to replace and get all the streaming videos and everything.
I've not seen a fried dog turd.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
The night is young. You never know.
I'm going to have to... Ben and I drove down here, and so half of this will be his, so I'll treat him to, like, a little bit of drive-through Jack in the Box on the way home.
Jack in the Box. See, now I feel like if I buy you Jack in the Box, I'm contributing to killing you.
No, I'm totally trolling. Like, I would.
As long as it's a sourdough Jack.
I haven't eaten. Okay, to be honest with you, the only fast food I'll eat is a McDonald's McGriddle, because that is the greatest breakfast sandwich of all time. Prove me wrong. That does sound good. Change my mind. You can't.
Fleetwood says, one large curly fry, please. I used to not be able to get the smell off of me with that, with Arby's. It was awful.
Oh, I worked at McDonald's when I was 14. I was the fry girl.
Yeah, it sticks on you, right?
Yeah.
And then I remember one time, hop grenade. High, fly ball, deep, out.
Dead, gone.
Let's see. Everybody's talking in the chat. I don't see.
Oh, they said she had B. Jackson, who came in last. Your runner came in 10th. Is that true? B. Jackson, can you verify this?
Diaz Inc. said, I love your book, Alex. Yeah, well, that's what I thought it said, but I was like, I must be reading this wrong. And I'm like, whatever. Diaz, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the book.
Pretty sure we lost. Oh, my God. I have to give him back his $20. Okay, wait, I gotta give him $20 now. Jeez.
I was like, who the hell did she have?
I didn't even see your guy on the board. Right. That's why I was like, there's no way.
Bo Jackson says, I've read it too, Alex. Tecmo Bowl, what's good? I appreciate it, Bo Jackson. Thank you for picking it up.
Bo Jackson.
God bless you.
Bo Jackson. I'm calling him Bo Jackson from now on. Hey, wait. Let's show the people. What? Let's show the people. Come on, take it.
I played that game once or twice, but
you're lucky I had 20 on me. This is not a broke week. Yeah, I did win the first race, but I didn't bet on myself because I thought we were choosing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay, now I got. Okay, thank you guys. Monster Hands, the IRS has been notified of this little pet. You guys should see professional gamblers' tax paperwork at the end of the year if you do it legit. Like.
Russ McGinney says, "Hey V, when's your next Veronica and Friends game?" The third Saturday of every month, and my May game filled up literally the day after my April game.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's popular.
I'll be back playing in the game this time.
Nice.
Ben and I will not be in the booth. He's gonna be back in my game also. Actually, no. I don't think Ben is gonna be in my game this month. I think I may have switched him out for another pro. I only have like a 2 pro limit in my game.
Oh yeah, no, that's fair. That's why you got to keep it now.
And the pros have to be able to like talk to people and have fun.
Right. I hate curmudgeonly pros. Now, I suggested some rules during that game, and I need you to be perfectly honest there. Where I said, if either of our runners won it, the other person won $20. But if it was one of the other runners, it was just a push. Nobody won anything. Now, I thought you rejected that notion, but I can't remember.
I did reject that
okay,
notion.
good. Okay, like just making sure.
Whoever came ahead.
All right, you're
whoever went ahead.
All right.
I'm a freaking gambler.
You're honorable. All right.
I'm an honorable gambler.
I just gave you free.
I may have taken that out if it was like a $3,000 bet.
Yeah,
no,
I think that's what we could have played the tape. Now.
No, I'm kidding. I wouldn't have bet you. Shut up. I wouldn't have bet you $3,000. So because I can't.
Oh
I
my
can't
God.
afford to be honorable.
Death 420X says, what button? So I have a affectation with my accent where I don't say button, I say button. And I never noticed that before in my life until I did the audiobook for Exploitative Play and Live Poker. And one reviewer went, I cannot handle this. He says button every time. So you guys are going to hear really hard T's as I try to learn how to use the English language for the first time in my life.
That's Sam Harris. Every time I hear him, like a word that ends in a G, like playing, he says playin'. And he never pronounces the G's.
Can't get rid of
and
it.
it fucking tilts me. And I love his podcast.
I know,
so
and
much.
he's like IQ 2 billion, right?
Yeah.
Like Jessica's all in on the button with Queen Nine of Hearts. Lone gets it in behind with Ace King. And
This is high variance commentary, Carlos Welch says. Yes.
let's go, Carlos. Jessica needs a little help. She's only going to win this pot about 1/3 of the time, and she gets a lot of help on this board. Queen of diamonds, 6 of diamonds, 5 of clubs. Lone now needs 1 of 3 aces, 1 of 3 kings. Can also get backdoor diamonds for a flush, but that's not going to happen on this turn card of the 3 of hearts. She is down to 6 outs right now. And it's paint, but it's not the paint she needs. It's a jack.
Damn, you're such a good sports announcer.
I've watched a lot of sports in my life. That's when I feel the dumbest as a male. Like, at least dogs will chase a ball in real life. As an adult male, I turn on the TV and watch other males chase a ball. Like, I think about this a lot. Now, all the games have a ball.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, ooh, look at the ball. It's going over there. And with
but there's some strategy involved.
there is strategy. With football, it's warring tribes passing a pelt.
Right.
It's like we're out on the fields again hunting, and we need to get this pelt back to the base.
We are very tribal, and
Extremely.
and it shows so much in our children.
Oh yeah,
and
right.
then in our sports, right? Mm-hmm. And then we have to grow out of it as we become adults.
Yes. Hop Grenade says hockey pucks, bruh. If they could get away with a ball, they would. I always thought, like, whenever you go to a football game, American football, and the cheerleaders are parading out there and the guys are smashing their heads, if a Martian came down to Earth and that was the first thing he saw, he would go, this has to be the humans' mating ritual. This has to be it. The men are smacking themselves and the women are gyrating. This has to be a mating ritual, right?
And it kind of is,
and
right? Don't you get turned on in a good NFL game?
Testosterone flows for the man, right? Yeah, and it's one of those things you just look as you get older and you go, this is so bizarre if you really think about it, right?
I mean, it's bizarre if you're, I think almost anything is bizarre, cultural, if you're not used to it.
Jeff 420 says, this host has smoked weed.
It's bizarre if you don't see it on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Right? Go to another country and look at their rituals and you're like, what are
is
they
going
doing?
on?
Yeah.
Right.
But it's so normal to them.
Right.
Like,
it's been a while, but yeah, as in regards to Death 420 suggestion.
Hop grenade. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, yeah, the 420. Oh, I get it. Yeah. You go to some tribe somewhere in Australia.
Right.
You'll think they're really fucked up.
Right. You watch and you go, what the hell? Then you come back home and you watch us and you go,
yeah.
I mean, we just have better graphics. That's all.
And we're not eating anyone's brains.
Yeah, exactly. No, we just get CTE slowly. Now, Renee has ace of clubs, 2 of diamonds on the button, gets folded to him, and he has all the chips.
Vito V says, you know how much better this convo would be high right now?
Vito.
Right, true.
And Renee is going to go ahead and push them around. How much does he raise here, too? You're certainly happy to have the ace on the button, but you wouldn't mind this just being over right now. Jessica has 340K, and does she just call out of the big blind? I do not like that. She should shove there, in my opinion.
And we're at 10K, 20K now, right? With
right.
20K.
Renee can be opening very wide there, and he's going to fold a lot. That's going to be so significant to your stack. Well, now it's going to pay off for her now because now he's likely to bet fold. So it's one of those things. It's not all's well that ends well. Renee knows that she's missed this board the majority of the time, decides to go ahead and try and take it. It's not going to work.
He's so aggressive. I love it.
Yeah.
And it probably works most of the time.
Yeah. Now, I always wonder when men flare their muscles as they c-bet, is that the hand? There are guys that won't do that, right? It's very ginger. when they slide in their chips. It's like, Renee, I haven't noticed anything, but that was a very muscly, flary
I'm probably the
C-bet.
I'm not a psychologist that has been studying men's testosterone-filled poker tells.
Yeah.
But I may agree with you on that
Well,
one.
I noticed myself do it one night. I was running.
Was it against a female opponent?
It
though?
actually was.
Oh,
No,
my
yeah.
goodness.
No, well, I was value betting on the river, but I didn't love it. It was in a cash game in Laughlin, Nevada, and I grabbed my big stacks out there, and I was really enjoying this because I thought I was going to get paid off really well. But I noticed, I was like, well, the way I'm putting this in, it doesn't look like I'm really, it was one of those, like, this is flashy for no reason. And then she goes all in. I'm like, God. And it was the most like going from a euphoria high to you dumbass in like 2 seconds. And then, I'm pretty sure she had me beat. But I remember just being in the thought, like, would you bet like this with a set, or would there be more time you would take or something like that?
Are you leveling yourself at times?
I do
feel like you
all the
are.
time. I level myself 24/7. So never stop thinking.
That's a good but painful place to be, maybe.
Yeah. Jessica goes ahead and I think raises from the small blind with her ace.
It's really, Hector says, just grab him by the button.
Just grab him by the butt.
Oh, that's cute.
I hate you all. JK. John Southern says, hopefully they will party down at Arby's.
Gotta raise ya, bro. Homeboy from Live at the Bike, Garrett always flexes when betting. Well, Garrett's just like a chronic flexer.
Always flexer. Sometimes you just got to feel yourself, you know?
Garrett's a super good guy. I love that podcast he did with Joey Ingram last week or a week and a half ago. I listened to it. Really great.
Oh, yeah?
Great life and poker advice.
Oh, good times. Carlos Welch says, straight out of Laughlin.
They're still needling you. John Southern says, hopefully they will party down at Arby's. You guys, if someone doesn't follow Nihilist Arby's on Twitter. I highly recommend it.
I think I remember that. Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite follows.
I stopped reading my Twitter because it's the same 9 people on my timeline every time.
You don't follow enough people.
No, I follow like a lot of people. I just never see them.
The algorithm, man.
Yeah, I believe. Jessica raises to 65K from the button at 15K, 30K.
The what?
From the button. Lone goes at it. Now that I mentioned it, you can't unhear it. Lone jams with king of clubs, 6 of clubs. She has less than 10 big blinds. She could not expect to have fold equity here.
Monster Hand says Lone has inner hate for Jessica. They probably have been playing together a long time. They're fine. There's no hate. We're gonna need you to stick with Button. Button doesn't flow for you.
Joe Button. Lone. What was it? Renee just figured that out. Really just thought Lone was done with it. Calls with ace-8 of clubs. Oh my lord. That is a call. And Jessica is thinking, I got a free chance to ladder up, and I got jack high. I got to be out of here. I know you're getting a great price, but that has to be going through your mind as well. And she does fold. Obviously a great price, but she doesn't have a ton of chips.
I'm looking over to see if I can see the future.
And king 6 of clubs is going against ace 8 of clubs. It just feels even worse when the suits are covered. Lone's going to need a lot of help here. Only has 37% equity, but there's a king in the window.
King 6.
And a 6.
Damn.
Renee is not feeling good here. He's going to need running clubs, and guess what? She's got 2 of them. Oh, there's one.
It's always a sweat.
Oh, my Lord. There you go.
Renee, such a character.
Can he pull a rabbit out of a hat here?
Oh.
Dear God, it hurts so much more. Renee made a really crazy call there. I have no critique of that hand because it seems like he really did know Lone was done with it, but he's going to think about this hand later. I just realized I have no intelligent thoughts on this hand, so I'm going to stop talking right now.
Now, welcome to my world. No, I mean, I think it's hard when it's pre-flop all in. I mean...
Yeah. And to be fair to the guy, he was right. And he had the suits covered, which he totally knew.
Which he knew. Yeah.
Yeah,
Obviously, that takes skill.
Right.
Jessica with pocket sixes here. 550... 555K.
I'm just shoving here.
Yeah,
if this is
I
me.
was just about to ask you
If
to shove here.
Yeah, because if I raise and I call a rejam and someone's got 10-8 of clubs, I'm coin flipping, right? That's one of the best things that could happen to me. I like jamming here. Now, to be fair to her, nobody's really been 3-betting here. But on the flip side, Renee knows what he's doing. So there is going to be some 3-betting. There is going to be some action. So I don't mind a jam here. I Hate College 209 says, it's crazy to call a 7 big blind jam four-handed with ace-8 suited. No, but there was action still left behind him. The button player did move open into a 7x stack, so you think she probably has something decent, and you thought maybe something could have happened after that, but he somehow saw through it. I'm really blown away by that hand. Renee has actually played a really fun final table, a really good final table, very solid, a lot of inventive play, really going for the win. Fortunately, he has taken a hit.
So he's going to have your commentary with this show playing on his TV in the background of his house for the next 10 years. Like,
he
pounding
deserves
his chest
it. He
like
deserves
a silver
it.
back.
I said at the beginning I was going to call balls and strikes, right? But, I mean, the guy's getting people to fold their top pairs that they flopped on the flop, right? The guy's playing ball. Obviously, not everything is perfectly finessed, but that's why you got to practice, and that's what he's doing right here.
You can kind of see a difference between a player who's playing to ladder up and just kind of hang on, and one who came to win.
Right, and there's people that go, you know what, live final tables don't happen every day. I'm going to learn how to win this one. So maybe if I am lucky enough to make a WSOP final table, to make a WPT final table, I am prepared to take over that final table. I have to learn in the minors if I want to play in the majors.
Jessica going upstairs again. Oh, sorry, Jessica. Yeah, Jessica's raising in the big blind. Yeah.
And Navu is out of here.
High on Life wants to see the pay jumps. Can we put them in the chat?
I think you do this. Did I do it? No. I thought I was so cool.
Are you signed in as Hop Grenade?
Apparently so.
So blinds are 15K, 30K.
And Renee here goes ahead and raises.
They're
from
having
under
too
the
much fun back there.
under the gun with 8-7 of diamonds. And Navu folds his ace-3. Jessica folds her queen-3. It comes around to Lone, who has king of hearts, queen of clubs, 425K at 15K, 30K. She's got to know Renee is opening very wide there. I think all these chips should go into the middle, so she can just chip up to 500K right there. But if I've learned anything watching this final table, I don't know if that's going to happen. Sorry, sometimes atta girl.
There she goes.
Atta girl, go for the gold.
The trigger.
Get in there.
And he insta folds and smiles because he respects the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Game recognized game.
Yes, ma'am. She didn't do anything wrong. She did what she was supposed to.
Oh,
you have to respect
says,
it.
This host is so handsome. Are you putting that in yourself?
I did not put that.
Devil's Advocate host has been talking to himself from Twitch. Yeah.
Navu with 9-4 diamonds under the gun goes ahead and folds, goes around to Jessica on the button with 630k. She folds whatever the hell she had. Jack of clubs, 8 of hearts in the small blind with Alone, who has less than 20 big blinds.
And Gotta Razia wants to ask you about the value of the World Series of Poker main event and why it's good to play each year.
It's insane value. It's my favorite tournament of the year because you have everybody playing. It's just
it's like the ladies event.
Yeah, it's everybody gets together and plays a 10K once a year.
Yeah.
No one
Isn't
really.
that funny, right?
Yeah, and like you never
Family
really.
reunion.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of times you're playing with someone and you go, how did this person put together 10K and get into this tournament?
No, there's a lot of leagues, right, that are getting people
Yeah, which
in.
is awesome. I love that.
Yeah, me too.
Now, Lone goes ahead and limps in with Jack 8, which I think people do a little bit too much these days. And Renee has an 8 and a deuce, which he knows is Jack squat. But he thinks Renee is going to have to think about a jam if he raises big, puts the pressure on her with a raise to 115K. Now she's thinking about all of her chips now, and she's got Jack 8 high, and it's gone. Renee is just going to keep chipping up.
That's kind of why I have a 3-bet or a raise and fold strategy out of the small blind.
I think trying to negate your positional disadvantage is always a good idea.
Is it so late that you're starting to get a little loopy?
Yeah. I've been, this is probably the 7th day in a row I've worked, so.
Oh.
It's, yeah, that'd be right. I worked this morning, so yeah. Tried to take some time off and watch Game of Thrones, but that was about it.
Somebody in Sacramento, pick this man up tomorrow and take him for lunch downtown at Mulvaney's.
Mulvaney's? That's the one?
It's my favorite restaurant downtown.
I'll definitely check
There's
it out.
also Sandra D's if you like soul food, which I love.
Ooh, okay.
But Mulvaney's is like top notch.
What kind of food is Mulvaney's?
Mulvaney's, I would say it's American, but it's like organic, farm to plate. Menus changing all the time.
Love it. What's the dish I should order there?
I don't know. The menu changes every time I go.
Oh,
I wouldn't know
okay.
what they have there, but they just go with anything seasonal.
Oh boy, Renee went ahead and limped. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you're
Forgive
fine.
me, but he limped in there, I believe, with queens, and Navu went ahead and checked. I don't mind this limp. Navu does show he will get involved post flop with just. Well, actually, he did just. Well, does he know that he folded a jack on that turn? So, but Navu flopped 3 of a kind, has turned the full house. Unfortunately, Renee doesn't have a bad hand here. He thinks Navu, combinatoric-wise, most of the time has a flush draw, a straight draw, or a jack. He's not worried about the 2 kings in the deck, so he goes ahead and value betting his queens, but now Navu knows he's got this locked up with the full house. I'd like to see a smooth call here. Renee has shown a propensity to keep firing. He's got the board locked up. He knows he can't really have a whole lot of anything.
If he calls Navu or raises here, is it kind of the same thing showing what he has? It kind of is. Or is there ever a chance where he raises this turn?
The problem is now Renee is going to know you have a king there a lot of the time, right? Because a lot of people won't call with a flush draw and then raise the turn with it, right?
Yeah.
So if he's just playing what most people would do there, he's going to... If Navu thinks he has a jack, he's wondering if he's going to lose a jack if he raises there. There is some validity to raising if you think the person will get over involved. But, oh boy, Renee goes ahead and bets 120K. Just assumes that Navu has that jack and he's calling. Not too worried about the queen 10 apparently. And he is going to see a jam.
Yes.
Now, fortunately for Renee, that river does save him somewhat. He could think that he just ran into queen 10 there. It's hard to believe that he'd be raising all in with ace X of clubs. I already checked that back. But, well, actually, you can see that with Navu. But, yeah, that's a good fold. I don't think Renee had anything. I don't love his limp pre-flop because we have seen Navu fold pretty good pairs on the turn. So your slow play equity isn't as tremendous as you'd like. So this is the one play I did not like at this final table by Renee.
It seems like he's slow playing a lot of his big pairs, big hands. I'm wondering if there has been like a tendency for players.
I'd have to watch back the footage. There is it's certainly not a bad play, and I certainly loved it versus hyper aggressive opponents, but I think with Nauvoo you do have to raise and build a pot there with a pretty good hand.
Down to 4 in this last Sunday Stones Gambling Hall tournament that we hold every last Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of my favorites when I lived here.
Yeah. Devil's Advocate says the main event is some players, it's like a bucket list thing. Even though they have terrible skills, they just want to do it. That's a really good point as to why the main event would be so soft. Nauvoo here has limped from the small blind with king 3 of clubs. Jessica is checked back with 8-3 off. I think Nauvoo could just jam there, but he feels he can outplay Jessica post flop, which is not a bad idea. Unfortunately, it's not going to work for him here. Jessica has flopped one of her 3 outs. Nauvoo has the option from the small blind. And we see Nauvoo is, whenever I see a guy win a decent pot and is smiley and stuff like that, when people get emotionally affected by hands, I always, I don't know, it makes me, okay, so he just
check folds.
He just check folds. That is interesting.
Yeah, you finish your thought there.
No, it always makes me wonder how it's going to affect their play, right? Because you'll see a lot of like the old pros not really be affected by much, right? Maybe like a big loss, we'll get to them. A big win tends to not do anything. You see someone get a little more jovial with a pot. You wonder, maybe this person is going to have their play affected. And we did see a very passive line there. But sometimes people get really loose with the lead, and you want to pick up on that before everybody else at the table. It is something that is hard to pick off, but something that could indicate that is when someone, you see them talking more after a big pot, really easy smiles, suddenly talking to the dealer, all of a sudden it's like, oh, this person's loosened up. Maybe things are going to loosen up pre-flop as well.
I feel like you're talking a lot about these micro leaks that so I feel like they're not addressed very often because they're so small to an average player. But when I think of analytics, you're looking at things over a long period of time, and over a lifetime of playing poker, these small leaks could be costing you so much money.
Right. Yes. The little things add up to the big things.
Right.
And Renee goes ahead and raises here with 10-8 of clubs under the gun. It's not going to work. Unfortunately, he ran right into Jessica's ace-queen. She 3-bets to 135K. Now, this is an interesting spot because Renee is now going to be getting an incredible price with a hand that does not flop poorly. And he does call. And this board bricks both of them.
Jessica does pick up a backdoor flush draw.
See, now, Renee has played ball today. You want to limit decisions versus the big stack when you can't anticipate them. I like a jam there. Maybe she felt she was eking out some value from weaker aces.
Renee
but
feels a little defeated now, the look on his face. And
yeah, you see the shoulders sagging. You see the looking around a little bit. And you got to watch that because some people just feel, I don't think it's going to happen at this final table. I think he's fine. I think he's playing just fine. But you do have to worry about that with, especially young men will see that. And they'll go, blood's in the water. It's almost like the wounded lamb. And maybe they didn't, before, maybe they didn't have the chutzpah to 3-bet you.
You're such an old man.
But now they will.
So tell me, do you like fixate on the micro in this game?
I just can't stop thinking during a hand, right? It's just, and it's one of those, all the little things add up to big things. So you do want to pay attention. It is so immensely frustrating to look back at a tournament and go, oh, if I was paying attention, I could have seen that, right? I think the more little details you take care of, the more you're going to like how you played at the end of the day. Whereas if you just very much try to force your algorithm, which you have not changed in 2 years upon a game, you're not going to like it at the end of the day.
I feel like this kind of game can be easily obsessed over and is good for if you have some OCD tendencies, because you can fixate on wanting perfection in so many areas, and it's like never the same.
Right. And well, it's a lot like chess. There's a lot of people that have that are wandering around Central Park right now that used to be really good at chess, right? And they don't really know what is going on in reality. You can definitely go down a dark corner as far as just what you fixate on. And as far as this
rabbit holes.
Yeah, which is, I tell everybody I work out because I'll go psychotic if I don't. Like, I don't feel like a human being until I work out.
I have a sign at my desk that says "Down the Rabbit Hole" from Alice in Wonderland, because it you know,
that would worry me.
We can all do that. Yeah, I try to remind myself not to go down too many.
Now Renee jams here with 9-8 offsuit from the small blind. Now, if Nauvoo is thinking about this with ace of clubs, 4 of clubs, there is a lot of justification for jamming a little light here, but this is really light.
Devil's advocate, I'm going to bring up your question as soon as we're done this hand, because I think it's really important.
Nauvoo is thinking it out here.
I do have to say that the dynamic between Nauvoo and Renee has been quite fun to watch. Neither one has been easy on the other.
No, they have not been. And I think we've seen Renee. If he gets a fold here, then oh my lord!
Wow, that almost got you. That was an emotional response.
Wow. Well, Renee, if he's gonna fold that hand, Renee should be shoving his hand. What's the question?
Devil's advocate says, anyone else think mastering the ability to have zero emotion at the table has a negative impact outside of poker? All that suppressed emotion over time has got to be eroding something.
Keeping things close to the vest for a long period of time will do something to you emotionally. I remember when I was playing online poker 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day. I remember walking to a Subway in the middle of the night, and the guy spoke to me from behind the counter, and I found I couldn't speak. And I wasn't sure why that was, and it occurred to me I hadn't spoken the entire day. And then I thought about it a little bit more, and I hadn't spoken the entire day previously. And then I thought about it 2 days ago. I didn't see my roommate. So I hadn't spoken to anyone in 3 days. It was solitary confinement with an algorithm I was trying to fix, an algorithm that does not cooperate with me on many occasions. So yeah, I do think it can have an effect. Renee goes ahead and I believe jams with Queen Jack. Renee's done messing with these people.
Yeah. That's, you really dove deep. 3 days. I mean, that's a little overboard. So now do you try to find some more balance in your life?
Oh, hell yeah.
Like I know you're telling me about your girlfriend keeps you balanced.
Yeah, I try to have different ththings I do every week. Sometimes, some weeks I'll do the training video packs that I sell. Other weeks I'll play poker.
Do you have like a threshold where do your friends know, like, okay, if he's in the lab for like a certain amount of hours, I'm gonna go get him? To not let you.
Yeah, my girlfriend will yell at me, like, you know, that's the good thing now. Before, when they used to leave me to my own devices.
Oh, look at Renee picking up aces in the right time.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay. I just used to not sleep for days at a time. Carlos Welch can confirm. Renee has aces here under the gun. 545K. He is playing. He is tilted. Did you see how he threw those in?
I love it.
He wants to rifle chips, but all he has is plaques, Carlos pointed out. That is tilting.
You might get a double up here. I think Nauvoo might sense the wrong...
Right. Well, if we've seen anything about Nauvoo here, Nauvoo is calling. Yeah. Now, if Nauvoo makes just a king or a jack here, he is in deep ass.
Oh, for a second there, I thought Renee went all in. He did not.
No, so he just raised to 2x the big blind, which you don't mind with these shorter stacks. Getting people involved in any raise pot is a winner. Oh, dear God.
Oh, man.
Oh, dear God.
Sorry, Renee.
This is brutal.
R.I.P.
Well, it's good. With an overpair here, Renee should not.
Oh, the chat's blowing up. Why are you doing this to him? Leave Renee alone.
And Renee, I feel for you, buddy. You played for the win here.
Yeah.
But he's going to need an 8 on the turn if this gets in on this flop, which it should. Or, well, Nauvoo could slow play, but Renee is certainly within his rights to back call if Nauvoo raises.
The fake tilt has become real, yes. Our Carlos Welch, thank you for your input.
He bets 35K. He's just milking it. Now, I would like to have seen a bigger bet there. That is a board that hits a lot of Nauvoo's range. Although maybe he feels like he can eke out a raised bluff there with that C-bet.
Death 420 says, Jesus took the wheel and turned into the medium. No, he crashed into the tree. J-Start Art says, are you saying you always call any ace from a small blind shove?
Nope, I don't. I'm a net. I'm one of those guys, if I can't prove it 10 ways to Sunday, I don't do it. And he's going to get a raise, and this is going to get real bad real quick. Renee's going to need an 8 or an ace here in order to take this pot back away. Carlos makes a really good point in the chat. He's going to feel like he induced the raise with that small bet, so you almost are looking forward to the jam here from this short stack. Okay, so he just calls. He thinks that Nauvoo could possibly have just a pure bluffing range there, and he's going to give him a shot to jam with it on the turn, or just bet again. Turn is a 2, so now Renee needs an 8 or a 2 on this river to make a superior 2 pair. Also, an ace will give him trips, a set, excuse me, which will take it away from 2 pair. Nauvoo very loose. Just when you see a guy really calm in the middle of the hand talking with the dealer and whatnot, that tends to not be someone who's running something, running a play. Now, I don't know Nauvoo from anyone, but that if I'm sitting there in Renee's spot, I'm still not folding, but that would get me worried, yeah. It triumphantly turns over the hand. Renee's going to need a lot of help. He's a big dog here. He needs an 8, a 2, or an ace on this river, or he is gone. And it looks like an 8. It's not an 8. That is going to be it for the most aggressive player at the table. Good game, Renee.
Oh, yeah.
Played very hard. They are happy to see him go. They knew it was going to be hell on earth playing against him the rest of this day.
We all love Renee, too. So, great play, Renee. Really enjoyed watching you play.
Good game.
Watching it at the bar right now. So actually, the reason why Vu was talking to the dealer is Renee announced check, and then Vu says check, like a question, and then the dealer thought he said check, so he was saying no. I was just asking if he checked, and then that's when he goes all in.
Okay. That
it looks a little weird with no.
Right. Yeah, So I guess that doesn't give it away that much information there. You do. You did
an amazing job, Renee.
You played very well.
You're gonna want to watch it.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'll see you.
You're gonna want to watch it because he gave you a lot of compliments.
You played very well.
You're gonna want to watch it.
Played very well. You should be proud of yourself. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Oh, now it's loud. Yeah. I hate hearing my own voice. I mean, I've learned to.
Have you heard my voice?
Yes, I've been listening to you talk for like 6 hours.
I have a pretty goofy voice.
It's just the button thing. Everything else is fine.
You see
the button thing would make me murder you at night. But, luckily.
You see that scar right there?
What's that?
That is from something like a tumor I had when I was a baby. And when they cut that, I think they nicked one of my vocal cords because I sounded like a girl up until I was about like 18 years old. And then I shifted to this octave and I went, yes, I sound like a dude finally. But yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So if you guys want to know why I was into books when I was younger, I just told you. But dear God, I didn't mean it to be
I'm
that
glad
serious.
You're okay. No, I killed our happy talk earlier, so
It's all right. I did it now. Navu right now with 2 times the chips of second place, and Jessica and Lone are just still hanging around, going for the money. Hop Grenade goes, God, yeah, what are you guys, pro-cancer or something?
C. Carried says, "V real annoyed with this dude? Not at all. Not at all. He's a phenomenal human off the table."
There's like a 20-minute discussion about a chop, but ultimately they chop.
Okay, so there's no hands being played.
No more hands.
Okay,
All
good.
right.
Well, good because I have to drive home. Now, I really enjoyed doing commentary with you. Let's hear what he.
All right, guys. So finally, they worked out a chop. After about 20 minutes of deliberation, Vu walked away with $7,905. Jessica got out of here with $6,821, and Lone took $5,962. Well
Pretty
done,
good.
all 3 of the winners today. And I hope you guys enjoyed this broadcast. I sure had a lot of fun. This was a very interesting one. It's very good getting to talk with you as well.
Yeah, it was really great meeting you. Honestly, a great guy off the table. I've heard I know nothing about you. I'm just, I haven't been stalking you for 3 years, but just 4. But no, it was great being in the booth with you. Very knowledgeable. I'm a fan, and I follow you on Twitter. So maybe you could follow me back. I don't know. Might happen.
That
But
will happen.
get down to Sacramento tomorrow. Enjoy yourself. Thank you so much for joining me in the booth. I really appreciate it.
I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
All right, good night, guys, and you get to see him again tomorrow.
Bye, everybody. PokerHeadRush.com. Sign up for the newsletter.